There was really no Bleed draft today, or yesterday.
Oh, no. Yeah, because you lost a few of your games, right?
Every one of them.
Oh.
Even fantasy football is going in the shitter.
I'm sorry. Michigan won, though.
They did.
Yeah, so that's got to count for something, right? Even though that was 2 weeks ago?
I didn't, dude. I went my fantasy basketball. I'm hoping I hold. That'd be one win. I was rooting for the Phillies. They lost. Obviously, Ravenna lost. Soccer team just lost. Lions won. That's a big one.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, they won 15-9 today. So there's a big mental health check going out to a few of my friends that are Packers fans. We're 2-6, so I really can't even talk shit. I'm just making sure that they're all right.
Yeah, check on your friends, make sure they're okay.
Yeah,
with all the sports happenings.
I kind of feel bad that they lost to us. It's one of those things that I'm doing. You guys have beaten us probably the last 5 years. Every game. So this is and the Packers are just plummeting. So it's kind of hey, hope you guys are doing all right.
Yeah.
Sorry that happened. We did win, but
sorry, buddy. I'm trying not to celebrate too hard in front of you.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't want to make you feel bad.
Yeah. If the Lions were any better too, if this thing meant anything besides we just beat the Packers,
right?
I might, but it's just kind of one of those whatever games.
It's like kicking a wounded dog almost.
Yeah. Well, you haven't seen the Warriors. There's a gang in the Warriors called the Orphans. So it's exactly that would be if you were in a gang fight and you had to go tell your friends you just lost to the Orphans.
Oh no.
Yeah. God, you guys look a mess. What happened? It's we lost to the Orphans.
Oh no.
Yeah. So, but it's a dub for the Lions. I'll take that.
Hey, congratulations. I'm happy for us, even though I don't really watch football all that much.
Interesting. Okay.
I got to tell you about this dream I had.
Lucid.
It might as well have been. So it had to do with being in a movie theater.
Okay.
So I dreamt that I was in a movie theater with my mom and dad, and it was like a most of the way full theater, and we were watching a new James Bond movie, which is weird because I really don't care that much about James Bond, and neither do my parents,
right? To
my knowledge. So we're sitting there, and it's 30 minutes away from the movie being done. And there's this family behind us. So we're in the second to last row towards the back. There's this family of 4 behind us in the very back. There's a mom, a dad, and 2 of their young sons, young teenager, probably 11, maybe 12 years old, something like that. Mm-hmm. And during the last half hour of the movie, the 2 sons started cracking jokes out loud for everyone in the theater to hear. And my dad turns around and he goes, excuse me, can you guys please be quiet? We're trying to enjoy the movie. And they're like, oh, yeah, no problem. But then they just keep doing it.
Yeah.
And so, my dad's listen, I already told you once, can you please be quiet? And they're still, just ignoring them and, joking. And then I turn around and I go, shut the fuck up. For some reason, I'm, way more confrontational in my dreams than I am in real life.
Yeah.
And so... And so, one of the parents goes, what's your problem, man? And I'm I'm trying to enjoy this fucking movie. And, we get in, a verbal altercation. I stand up and I go to leave the theater. The wife stands up and, leaves and, starts walking next to me. And so we leave the theater. And she, hands me this stack of pamphlets or papers with, all this, different writing on and, all this stuff. And I don't remember what was on it. But she just handed them to me and she said, educate yourself. And so, I stood there, I crumpled up the paper, I threw it at her, hit her in the head, and I said, bitch. And then she left. And then I went to go to the customer service desk to tell them about what was happening. And about 30 seconds after waiting there, this guy rolls up in a wheelchair. Now, you know what Tyler, the Creator, looks like, right?
No.
Okay, he's a rapper.
Okay.
Audience, if you're listening, imagine Tyler, the Creator, but just a little more feminine and wheelchair bound for some reason. And he rolls up and he's like, hi, sorry about the wait. How can I help you? And I go, yeah, there's a family that is being disruptive during a movie in Theater 5. I remember what theater it was.
Interesting.
I know, right? And so I tell him that, and then that's the end of the dream.
Interesting.
That's where the dream ends. So
Hey,
I guess all the important stuff just was not after after I told him about it.
yeah.
But
Well, I hope you're ready for some psychoanalysis to be performed.
lay it on me.
Yeah. If you hear this, get back with Kyle about what that dream meant. It probably meant that you forgot to pay your electric bill.
Oh shit. No. I wanted something more profound.
Yeah. Right.
I wanted something about like, oh, me as a person, like standing up to somebody who's like causing me some injustice in a public setting and maybe like causing a scene, but it's for everyone else's own good. Nope.
Your car needs an oil change.
Damn it. It actually really does.
You get like the Facebook response. Someone's like, Kyle, this is what your dream means. It's like, I hope you're ready. And then, hey, like, your tire's out on your cars. You got to go replace it. And you're like, oh. Like, are you sure? And then another person just likes a post above it. And next thing you know, there's like 6 likes.
I'm like, oh, God.
Are you guys sure? And then like absolutely positive. It's probably actually your back left tire.
Here's what your dream means. Your back left tire is at 25 PSI.
Yeah.
Good luck, kiddo.
Yeah. Are you nothing more than that? Nope. That's probably it.
Have you ever had any like movie related dreams at all?
Movie related dreams?
Yeah.
How so?
Like, I don't know, like you're in a movie, like you're part of being in like the plot of a movie, or you're in a theater watching a movie in your dream or something.
I don't know. It's weird. I've had 2 like horror dreams.
Okay.
There was one that was really realistic. I was getting chased. So I went to a high school football game, and there were some bullies, right? So I was kind of walking around. I was like on the outskirts of the stadium, so you could see the lights, and it was fall, so the leaves were coming down. And we were on this road, and I was kind of walking outside the stadium. I don't know if I was going to the game or not, but I was being followed. There was a presence following me. I don't know how it was just like implanted into this. And I remember I felt this, so I kind of started jogging or running, and then I ran into some like bullies, and they started giving me shit, and I was
Scott
like,
Farkas.
Yeah, I don't. Might as well. It was like the 3 teens from Terminator.
Okay.
I know you don't understand that one.
I'll understand it.
Yeah,
later.
yeah. At some point.
Don't worry. Future me will get it.
Yeah, and then you go, oh, that's who. But that's kind of what I remember seeing. They're really like punk emo,
Yeah.
So they started giving me shit, and I told them, I was like, we gotta go. Like, there's something following me. So I like push them off, and I start running again, and I go into the school. The teens follow me into the school, and then like Michael Myers, I would always kind of like, that's how it felt, like this unknown presence. It was just, and so we get into the school, and we go like into the basement, and I'm running around, and I run into one or two of them, they kind of got separated too. And I'm like, you guys, like, we got to get out of here. Like, this is not good. We're in a bad spot. And they're like, oh yeah, you fucking say that, you pussy or whatever. And it's like, no, you got to understand. And then you just hear, ah, and like, we all got quiet, and we kind of, it was like one of those things where you're just looking, and it's like, and then there was just nothing. So I'm like, not good, And so we kind of hear some rustling and footsteps coming. So we're like, all right, we got to go. So me and one other dude, we start running, and another guy branches off, and then you just hear another, and then it's just me and this dude. And I'm like, we need to get the fuck out of here, dude. And he's like, yeah, and then so like we get separated, and I think I saw him get grabbed or whatever, like just whatever it was popped out of the corner, grabbed him, and like, you could just hear him screaming, and then it kind of, and I'm like, oh fuck, like, so I'm like moving, it's like this little maze, I'm moving around, and I get to I get into the whatever, like it wasn't like a janitor's closet, but it was kind of like, it was like one of the, like a Freddy Krueger room, just there was a table, like a lab table, everything's like coated in dust, but there's this window, this pane of window, and I was like, oh, I can get, so I climb up on the table, and I push open the window, and I start crawling out, and I can feel the grass on my hands, and I get out there, and the breeze comes by, and like as soon as I kind of arch my back, I feel this on my fucking foot, and it grabs me back in, and I wake up. I'm like panicking. I go, God damn it, he got me.
It scared the shit out of me when you slapped your leg.
Oh my, that's how, dude, I've never been like, my heart, I was like panting when I woke up, how much adrenaline I had going. That's the most like kind of movie like. And then there was another time where we were in an apartment complex that was like 5-6 stories up, and Freddy Krueger was in there, and we were trying to run around from Freddy Krueger. And I remember I got outside a couple times and the police had it blocked off. So like everyone that was in the house was like to stay, or in the complex was to stay in there, and I had to go back in and try to like, it was either rescue or stop them or whatever. But that's probably about it. I mean, I don't really, in terms of like watching a movie or viewing a movie, I don't remember. A lot of my dreams are like hey, you're in Twister, so like I'll be in a scene in Twist.
Okay.
You know, so that's kind of like where I'm like yes and no, like the Halloween, like that Michael Myers one, like
Yeah.
no, it's a dream, but it definitely felt like I was in a Halloween movie.
Yeah, more so like your dreams feel like you're in scenes in a movie rather
Yes.
than just like in a theater watching a movie or like whatever.
Yeah. I don't
gotcha.
remember. Yeah.
A lot of my dreams have to do with like, for some reason, nuclear fallout or like a huge explosion happening and we have to like run away from something big and terrifying.
Interesting.
Like it's really, I don't want to use the word epic, but I'm going to, like epic proportions type stuff. Like you can just picture like the holy music playing in the background as like the sky darkens and like this huge explosion just envelops everything.
Yeah.
Kind of like Threads or something like that. Yeah,
Think-
terrifying.
Saddest dream I ever had. My mom turned into a tornado and had like kind of like that, like Jack Frost, like was like I have to go, and like I remember I woke up crying. I was like 6.
Yeah.
My mom was like leaving to go get groceries. I ran out, and my dad was like, "She's not here," and I just started bawling. Like, where is she?
Yeah, that dream means that you missed your recycling bill by like 2 days.
No, it means I didn't do my first grade project that I got grounded for.
Yeah.
I was not a very good student.
I mean,
Who is in first grade?
yeah, first grade, you know, doesn't even count.
Who are we?
Who are you?
What does it all mean?
Speaking of what it all means, I guess I can intro with a quote. Fewer and fewer filmmakers are going to struggle to raise money or to compete at Sundance and possibly get one of the specialty labels to release their films theatrically. And more of them are going to let the SVOD, streaming video on demand, businesses finance their films, maybe with the promise of a slight 1-week theatrical window to qualify for awards. But, in fact, once you commit to a television format, you're a TV movie. This person continued saying that movies released on streaming services could deserve an Emmy, but not an Oscar.
Really? Why are they being so pompous?
Who is the director that said this?
Aronofsky.
Nope.
Fincher.
Nope. I'll give you a hint. It is a big director name.
Spielberg.
Yep.
Spielberg said that?
Steven Spielberg.
How the fuck does he care?
He said this in 2018, and basically the gist of it is he's saying that movies that are released on streaming services shouldn't qualify for Oscars.
Right.
And
That's what I'm saying. Why the fuck does he care?
I was gonna say it's a little bit of a I don't know, shallow thing to say, just a little bit.
Yeah, they don't count as movies.
Like, what do you mean they don't count as movies? Of course they count as movies.
That's what I don't.
Blonde counts as a movie.
Well,
The
that's
Irishman,
probably not a good example,
well,
but yes.
The Irishman counts as a movie.
Yeah.
Martin Scorsese, who we've quoted on this podcast before about Marvel movies and how they're theme parks, released a film on Netflix. And I don't think it's any less of a Martin Scorsese movie because of it, you know?
No.
So I just thought that was a funny quote, especially because I guess Steven Spielberg at one point was going to have something on, what was that fucking... It was that one app that was like you saw videos vertically and like the whole thing was like, it was Quibi. That's what it was.
Okay.
I think it was Quibi.
All right.
It's
I'm
like,
not going to argue with that. I have no idea.
It was like this weird sort of app thing where the whole gist of it was like you watch like, oh, these quick 5-minute, 10-minute videos. And like the whole thing is like it's shot on like a vertical phone format.
Right.
Which, you know, like, one, who wants to watch something like that? And two, I just find it ironic that he was giving Netflix shit and saying that the movies on there don't deserve Oscars. Meanwhile, he was putting shit on Tubi.
Well, he might
or Quibi or whatever the fuck it was.
right. If he comes out with that, releases that movie, and someone's like, "Do you think this should be Oscar nominated?" He might laugh and go, "Fuck no!" Like I just did this for a paycheck.
Right.
But I don't know why he would have any sort of resentment towards other filmmakers putting stuff on SVOD.
I think from the gist of this quote, it almost comes across as he thinks it's too easy of a avenue for filmmakers to release their movies instead of having to go to like the film festivals and like struggle to like make deals with producers and like get their films released
They're
theatrically.
still making a deal with the producer though. I mean, Netflix is a production. I mean, they almost qualify as a production company.
Yeah, like why is it a bad thing that filmmakers have an easier avenue of releasing their movies online instead of having to like go to film festivals and like struggle to, get.
Is it any easier,
get distributors?
Though?
I don't know. I know that like you can put your movie on Amazon Prime pretty easily.
Right.
So that's for sure is an avenue, but I don't know. It just comes across to me as kind of like that Ridley Scott quote that we had a few episodes ago where it's just sort of like, I don't like where things are headed, so I'm going to complain about this type thing.
He might. Maybe that's where it's at too. Maybe he's trying to say SVOD if this is a new avenue, I don't want this to take over the theatrical releases. Mm-hmm. So in order to curb that, let's say that you can't win an Oscar because then it doesn't give the production house or whoever put it on SVOD any credentials.
Which is weird because it's, they're not different from any other studio, really.
The only thing I'd say is that the experience of cinema, the going into the theater with the bucket of popcorn and the all of that, I think how it goes is Irishman comes out, Netflix throws it out there, it's released for 1 week, but really it's intended for everyone to get a subscription, so they subscribe to Netflix to watch The Irishman.
Yeah,
and he might be of the old guard of, no, this should be going to the theaters. People should be going into the theaters and watching this because this is what will kill the theater experience.
Right.
And that's why, because ultimately everyone's doing this, like Amazon, Coda with Apple. That was big time now. That gives credence to Apple now because they have an Oscar under their belt.
Yeah.
So a lot of it, I think, is him just saying, you guys can do it. Don't get into that market, though. You can't get into the Oscars because, it's not that it doesn't count, but it doesn't give credence to that, to Apple, to Tubi, to Quibi, to Netflix. It's Emmy worthy, and if you want that, but the Netflix can't boast that they have an Oscar. And I don't know what an Oscar does to I'm not anymore for Apple because Coda won a fucking Oscar.
Yeah. If a movie like Coda wins an Oscar, it's more so like it more so benefits like the filmmakers to win the Oscar than it does like the production company or like whoever distributes the film.
That's what I'm like. You'd think, but dude, those like the Oscars, like you watch them, like the fucking like I gotta imagine whoever was up there, the production, like the producer was probably going nuts, and Apple was going nuts. Like I don't. That's what I don't get. Like Apple award-winning movie company, Apple. Like, does that do anything besides like you just won an Oscar? I guess is what I'm saying. Like I'm with you. I kind of feel like it's more of a personal gain as a director or an actor or being part of the production, more so than whoever paid to have it produced.
Yeah. Like if it's easier for individuals to put their movies on streaming services and they win awards because of it, it'll be easier if they win those awards to be able to market their upcoming movies, and then maybe they'll be able to like put those movies in theaters. Maybe they'll be able to like put them both on like streaming services and for people to go see at like the cinema. You know? So, I actually wouldn't disagree with him. I don't think, as long as he's doing it in the name of the moviegoer and the theater experience, if that's what his angle was, I'm totally for it because that is something that I'm like, I don't want to see that go away. Like, I can see it being that way. And he did make this quote in 2018. It's been like 4 years, so his opinion totally could have changed in that time. People grow, people change their minds.
I can change, and you can change, and together we can change.
Hallelujah. Who said that?
It's Rocky from Rocky 4.
Oh, I was going to say Tyler Perry.
Pretty close.
Oh, cool. Speaking of streaming services.
Yeah.
So I read this. This might be a little worth touching on.
Yeah.
The John Wick TV series, The Continental, it's a prequel series, will be on Amazon Prime internationally and on Peacock in the U.S. That's the face that I made when I first read that, because
I don't know why
I'm like, why the
that.
fuck wouldn't they put it on Amazon in the U.S. just like all the other countries?
Probably
Like,
because both of them, they both put up money to have it produced, and they're splitting like the demographics.
I guess, but shit, I don't want to get Peacock so I can watch this show. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I already have Prime. Prime is a lot more of a universally, more people have Amazon Prime, I would imagine,
Dude,
than they have fucking Peacock.
That's how it went. Wentworth, I think. There was a show that came out. I think it was Wentworth. They went international for the first 4 months, and then they released it like across the U.S.,
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, why do you do this?
Well, it's like, why wouldn't you want more people to see your thing? Even if you have like this weird deal where like, oh, we're releasing it on Amazon everywhere else, but like US, you get Peacock. It's like there's so many less eyes that are going to be on it.
Probably. If I had to guess, Peacock and Amazon put up money to have this thing produced, and in order to avoid cannibalism with the market. One of them said, we'll take this. Other one said, we'll take that. Unless, Peacock is part of that Amazon conglomerate, that maybe they did it just to keep the brand name going and help out that, company. So
if there's like a month free trial I can use and like the whole show is out at that point, maybe I'll check it out, but I'm not going to buy a whole subscription service just for the John Wick prequel show.
Well, if it goes,
especially if it's not great,
we don't have to talk about piracy, but there might be ways around it.
Yarg. Boy, unrelated, I really like the Pirates of the Caribbean movies, don't you? Sailing on the High Seas, Yarg, matey.
Yeah.
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Yeah. Yeah, those are great.
Yeah, the Bay of Pirates, Yarg.
Yeah, the Bay of Pirates. That's right.
I think that's a location that Johnny Depp would always go to in those movies, correct?
Yeah, and a bunch of other characters that might be in other films.
When he wanted unrestricted access to his favorite rum, wink, wink.
Yeah, the Bay of Pirates. I remember that.
Yep.
There's a lot of stuff there.
Yo ho
ho. A lot of treasure at the Bay of Pirates.
A lot of treasure content to plunder.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yep, entertainment viewing at the Bay of Pirates.
Guys, we're being as subtle as we can about this.
Yes, I have no idea what's going on.
Yeah, me neither. Wink, wink. I had to say wink because they won't be able to see us winking.
They might pick up on it.
Oh, they might hear our eyes squib a little bit.
Little slosh in there.
Speaking of slosh,
oh yeah,
we watched a film that could be described as slosh. I don't know.
Sorry, do you spell slosh S-H-I-T?
Some countries, I'm sure they do. And this film was Blonde.
Yeah,
2022 film. Did you want to describe this one? I can get the.
I would rather do it the other way around because you recommended this thing.
All right, I can do that. We can switch
I don't
it
need to. Go ahead.
All right, I don't even need to look this up. This film, Blonde, came out 2022, directed by Andrew Dominic, who we've talked about on this podcast before with Chopper. And
yes,
it's a fictionalized biopic starring Ana de Armas as Marilyn Monroe. It's got Adrian Brody. Who else is in it? I guess I do need to look it up. After all, boop.
I don't know who played Charlie Chaplin Jr.
Bobby Cannavale, Xavier Samuel, who was Charlie Chaplin Jr. Julianne Nicholson. I think she was Marilyn Monroe's mom. And it follows Marilyn Monroe on her journey through Hollywood and the ups and downs, mostly the downs of what her life was like, at least depicted in this film. And it's 2 hours and 47 minutes long. And you get to feel every ounce of pain that she goes through.
Yes, you do. Yeah, and if
Yeah.
you didn't know 2 hours and 47 minutes was a real thing, go and watch this, and you'll definitely feel it.
So I made a whole review of this on the channel. It's actually our most viewed video on our channel.
Whoa, shameless plug.
Shameless plug for our own content. Shout out.
Shout out the NCP.
Yeah. I've already said a lot about this movie in that video. I'm still gonna say a lot about it during our discussion, but
you did pack a lot in 15 minutes, so it might drag out a little bit more. And I also have things to say about this.
well, and I didn't even spoil anything during that video.
yeah. So if you haven't seen this and you care, then go watch it. If you don't care, keep listening.
Yes. So I'm really just curious about like your thoughts and what you think of this movie overall.
Well, I was taking notes.
I'm really looking forward to what you have to read.
So I mean, it's just I eventually stopped when her and Brody got together.
Okay,
Like,
so
it
like a
kinda-
little over halfway.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of got to a point. I was like, "What are we?" This felt like the Tree of Life.
Okay.
No, I don't think there was anything positive in this film.
You want to know what's interesting? You mentioned Tree of Life.
Yeah.
I was reading about the production of this, and I guess originally, because Andrew Dominik's been working on this movie since 2010.
Jesus Christ!
Originally,
This is what he has to show for it.
Originally, Naomi Watts was going to be it, and then when she dropped out, he was considering Jessica Chastain because of the Tree of Life.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
He probably has that very surreal vibe that he pardon the pun, vibed with Chastain on.
Oh yeah, he probably resonated with it quite a bit.
Yeah. So no, I mean the very first note is shitty expo. I don't really. I mean, it sets up a little bit of the character development, but for 30 minutes to be with her and her mom, to never really have the mom come back in, and all the mom did was pretty much like give credence or let us know why she's a little bit of mentally unhinged. Like that's it, right? It was 20 minutes, I'm pretty sure, 25 minutes to get to that.
I was wondering when it was going to cut to her adult life, when we were going to see Ana de Armas. To me, that scene was more so just setting up the whole tone of the movie, and that like this movie is just going to be a miserable depiction of Marilyn Monroe's life, and it's just going to start that way.
It really could, but that's why I put shitty expo. I mean, like it really didn't give me much besides your dad's not here and I'm a little crazy. You know, yeah, we get to see the traumatic events, I guess, that she was going through. I mean, the mom tries to kill her in the first 10 minutes of the film or 15. Naked mom. Yeah, and then boom, here we are, and then we were going through, and I her auditions I had that in there as I don't know what the fuck's going on. She's reliving events through some of the playwrights, which goes back to the mom character, which I don't know if any of it was supposed to represent anything about maybe her mental state. I couldn't tell you. This film I don't know what he was trying to get across to me, honestly. That's why I was kind of leaning. I was like, Kyle hopefully has an idea, because I don't know what the fuck I just watched and what they were trying to portray as Marilyn Monroe. Besides, I did write it down. I mean, I have dehumanizing, split personality, kind of what we do with women in Hollywood and how they're overly sexualized characters, and we don't view them as women but as objects. You know, Jackie Treehorn treats objects like women, man.
Here's what I'll say about it. Since you're pondering the intentions of Sir Dominic.
Yes.
I don't know if he's knighted. That's not confirmed.
Yeah. Hey, Kyle. Let's not just start, giving labels out here.
Yeah. Don't worry. I redacted. I think his goal of the movie was to depict through Marilyn Monroe as a character. He happens to use a real life figure, but very much treats her as a fictional character. We're supposed to observe like the sort of Hollywood system and how it treated women, how it still treats women.
Yes.
How a lot of it is very objectifying, how the personality they put on screen is supposed to be different from what their real life personality was like.
Norma Jean versus Marilyn Monroe.
Yeah, and that was like a pretty heavy-handed theme throughout the entire movie.
Yes.
And I don't necessarily have a problem with the idea of that. I don't necessarily have the problem with those things being portrayed.
Agreed.
In the way that they do, but they portray them. Let me rephrase that. The way they portray it in this movie is as if they are just doing the things that they are criticizing. To me, like it almost feels like an exploitation film in a way where you're just seeing Marilyn Monroe going through these horrible things, and it's Andrew Dominik looking at you going, hey, look at this. Isn't this terrible how we're portraying this? Isn't this awful of like what we're doing? It's like, well, yeah, but it's still bad, like what you're doing. You're just doing the thing that you're saying is bad.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that movie that came out a few years ago called Cuties, where it came out on Netflix and it was depicting like these underage girls in like a sexual way. And the director of the movie came out and was like, no, you guys don't get it. The movie was criticizing the sexualization of young girls in this industry. Right. And it's like, okay, but you still filmed it in a way that was sexualizing these young girls. It's kind of like that same concept.
Very on the nose. Yeah, and that's where it gets a little tricky, because it's like I want to depict and show what these women go through, but we're going to do it in the same exact way of what they go through.
And it would have helped a little more if Marilyn Monroe in this movie felt like she wasn't like a one-dimensional like misery bag.
Yeah, let's see.
Let's hear what you wrote
No, down. I don't know. I just, one is, why is she always crying? Mm-hmm. I'm pretty sure this at least half the film is her in tears. And so I guess maybe I wrote down the accent's killing me. Her accent, I could not get past it. I thought she looked just like Marilyn Monroe, but right. I got taken out with her accent and how she whispers everything, and they tried to really avoid a lot of her tone, and pulled it out in a very sensual way of her talking. Yeah, and that Cuban accent is very flirtatious. So
it's like so I read about it, and they said that Ana de Armas had like a voice coach for like a year before they started production on it.
That was a waste of money.
I was going to say, it doesn't feel like that she had that, but I will say I can totally see how her accent being in the movie would take someone out of it and like, be distracting. I really didn't have too much of an issue with it. I liked her performance, and I liked her emotional acting.
Yeah,
I thought that was effective, but in terms of her character is more so like what I had the issue with. Like, yeah, her character is very one note. All she does is cry and be miserable, like you said. And
it's awful. I mean, they completely strip her of her identity. Mm-hmm. I mean, at one point when she meets up with Adrian Brody, he just identifies her as "Hey, you." Yeah. Remember, that was like the big like, and I was like, I think I wrote down, let's see, problem's supposed, I think it's supposed to mean I see you, like, hey you, like I finally, like, you're the first person that's actually recognized me as being Norma Jean and not, comes off as she loses her identity though, as opposed to she's finally accepted kind of where she's at. So I saw a little bit of a differentiation, because maybe it's more of the disappearance of Marilyn Monroe and more of the Norma Jean coming out, that she's finally being accepted for who she is and not just as have to be sexualized in Hollywood. I don't know. I've got no clue.
I feel like it's almost the opposite though. It feels like it's just Marilyn Monroe and not Norma Jean as the movie goes further along, because
that's what I'm saying. Like this quote, when he says it, I think that's why she gravitated towards him, because it was more of a, I see you, you're not Marilyn, you're Norma Jean, But the movie definitely starts stripping Norma Jean out of her whole personality.
Yeah, which is weird, because there's so many quotes of Andrew Dominik saying, I want this movie to be a focus on like the private Norma Jean versus the very public Marilyn Monroe.
Well, that's why you got to have
two figures are so different.
Threesome, yeah.
Yeah. That's why that scene was so important with the waterfall and everything.
Literally, okay, so here's... the two lovers out of nowhere, question mark. She just walks in, they're playing the piano, they're like, hey Marilyn, your body's all about you, and the human body isn't supposed to meant to be dressed and clothed, it's supposed to be free and naked. We should just accept that. Can you feel my touch? And I'm like, all this is happening. I was like, is she about to get banged by two dudes?
Yep. And then you could just tell from a mile away.
And then
that's
it's on, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on?
I know that it was at that point in the movie where I was like, so this is going to be the entire thing, huh? This is just gonna be the whole movie is like what this is gonna be like.
2 hours and 47 minutes. That easily could have came out. I don't give a shit about the Gemini.
Yeah.
You know? Now, I think that they had him in there because I was like this thing was like very over stylized.
It was very well, like it's over stylized, but it's stylized in ways that don't make sense. Like Andrew Dominic has said that like there's no purpose to the black and white versus color scenes.
That's what I was trying to like. What's going on? And that like because it looks really cool at night. We get them in tuxes, and we can get like a lot of the bright contrast off of like the white and the black, and then it kind of mixes in and folds in, and it's like. I'm like, it looks great, but there's no fucking purpose.
I know. Like, that's the thing. The cinematography at points is, like, really good and really stunning. Like, that's probably the best part about this film. It's like a lot of the shots are, like, they make me wonder how they even filmed it. Like, I'm just so curious as to, like, how they even went about, like, going, like, through the technical aspects of, like, the filmmaking. But
yeah.
It's empty when there's like no substance, when your character is so one-dimensional.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I felt over stylized. Like this was like, let's see Ana de Armas boobs. Let's get like a lot of these really cool shots.
You got plenty of that.
And then yeah, there was I was not allowed to look. I was getting yelled at.
Well, I mean, that's understandable. They show them like what every other scene in the movie.
Liberal with it.
Oh yeah.
I was laughing though because anytime they pop up, I go boobs.
Got to keep yourself amused while you watch 2 hours and 47 minutes.
Oh, you have to, and then it'd be like, oh my god, turn away.
Yeah.
Well, not that bad, but it was like she'd be on her phone or something like that, and I go boobs, and then just eyes snap up.
You called yourself out. You had to be more subtle about it. You're like boobs.
No, I was having a good time with it because it was like, don't you look, or what's the fucking oh my god, they call him the Streak.
Oh yeah.
You know that song? They call him the Streak. Give it a. Anyways, I'm trying to think of the chick's name, and there's a streaker, and his wife or his old lady keeps like, he goes, "Don't you look, Merlin?" And then because there's a guy running around naked, so every time I go boobs, that's how it felt.
Oh, nice! It's probably the most fun anyone's had watching this movie.
Had to have been. There's only one good scene that I liked in this whole thing, and it was only 20 seconds.
What was it?
DiMaggio and the twins. About the only scene that had tension in it.
It felt like the only thing that had any sort of development towards anything valuable, like in terms of like a plot or just overall character development. I guess
we see a little bit. We saw a little bit of you see a little bit of her old life. I should say. I mean, these things are like written in chapters, like of where she was at. So she's getting gangbanged by the twins as she's early on in her career. Yeah. So she's still like sleeping with producers and trying to work her way up by, sexual gratification. And then she gets with DiMaggio. She starts calling him daddy. And I was like, that's so weird. And then the dad, is it Jesse Plemons who reads that?
I don't think so. He's not in the credits of this movie at all.
Because they had, whoever was reading it, I thought it was Jesse Plemons, but I didn't bother to look, but yeah, she starts getting those notes, and then it's like one of the notes has come up to the hotel room, and
I think it's Xavier Samuel. I think it's the guy that played Charlie Chaplin Jr. I think it's him.
Who's reading off as the father too?
Yeah, I think so.
Could be. I don't know. So they had that, and then all of a sudden she's calling DiMaggio daddy, and that's kind of where she's getting she thought there was more stability coming around in her life. She was starting to dictate a little bit more of the shots when she found out she's only making $5,000 and Jane Reinsfield was making like $100,000 or whatever it was. But then they blackmail DiMaggio with naked pictures of her and pretty much say, you're going to pay us this much money or else these are getting leaked. And DiMaggio pretty much goes like, I got guys that can hurt you, right? Like, you release these, probably be the last thing you do.
He could probably hurt them himself. He's a big dude.
Well, in the movie I don't know if DiMaggio wasn't big in real life, but apparently he was abusive. So, and then all of a sudden he starts beating her up, and then, so we get to see a little bit of that side.
Yeah.
I do feel bad for her, like, the whole time. I'm like, man, not a way to live,
Well, like, yeah. I mean, it was hard for me to be attached to her character because I mean
Yes.
that's all the movie is. It has no weight to it because that's all the movie has to offer. It feels like
it's like a stone just sinking in the water.
Yeah,
And you're just kind of, it's like not much I can do about it. It's a little heavier than I can lift up out of the water, so it just keeps falling. Yeah, it was. Let's see what else. Yeah, so that was like actually my favorite scene, and that was all of like a minute. It's pretty much them blackmailing DiMaggio to get them to pay him. Like, and then I'm like, well, why are these two guys out of money? Like, if that's Charlie Chaplin's son and then someone else's son, like, why are they doing it? You know. So there was a little bit of like there was some thought behind it. Weird distinction between her stardom and her as a person, but that kind of goes with the what they were going for, the two personalities.
What they were going for, but then it like I said, it feels like it converges into just one, because they made her character, even when in private, like almost like how Marilyn Monroe portrayed herself on screen, like kind of really ditzy, like sexy, slow talking, like you know, this sort of thing. When in reality, she was like a smart businesswoman that really fought for her own wages and like her own business dealings, like. There's scenes in this movie where she's just in a private home setting, like someone asked her a question and she's like, oh, I didn't know it was like this. Like, I forget the specifics of it, but it was like a really like common sense thing that she just didn't know.
Yeah, that she's going off like Dostoevsky and Chekhov. She was talking about that literature and like how she resonated with the characters and going through kind of like some about like, it's weird when you can feel like kind of safe, secure, or strong, and yet be devious and naughty, or whatever. I forgot she's talking about it with Brody about how she took the character out of the script, and I'm like, it's funny that you say that because she kept saying these things. I'm like, is this part of the fictionalized part, or like is she really intelligent? Like I don't know. We don't ever give her the chance to be like, oh shit, like she was very like incredibly smart and dictated her shots.
Right, and like. I feel like Andrew Dominik's attempts at like giving her something that's close to that is like having her talk about like her dreams and her aspirations, like she does with Joe DiMaggio. Mm-hmm. And there's like that whole dinner scene, and she says that, and then there's like a few more scenes sprinkled throughout the movie where she talks about like, I want my life to be like this. I just want to like live like this, but it doesn't feel genuine. It doesn't feel like that's. No. She only talks about those things for like a minute, and then you never really see her strive to be anything.
No, because they go back to her like crying and like something bad happening to her, and it's just her naked, and then all of a sudden it's you got to blow this dude to get this film. After she had just like fucking told the theater she wasn't going to work anymore unless they paid her as much as the other chick. Like I don't know.
Yeah, it's like they didn't want to show her having any sort of modicum of like control, or at least trying to have control of her life. It's like something would happen. Victim. Yeah, she was the victim, and it's like something would happen, and she just fold over, and that's all you get in the movie.
Yes, and then there's no distinction between real events and her. In her like surreal events, so that was like unreliable like character in terms of like what's going on. So that's why I had a hard time figuring out, is she smart? Is she not smart? Yeah. Like, is this her talking about this stuff is something that she's always dreamed about? Of like, I wish I was well read, and I wish I had like character studies and really diving into the motives and figuring out what drives this person and the kind of philosophy behind their actions versus what they're presenting versus what they're actually doing. And I'm like, she goes on like she'll talk about that stuff, and then all of a sudden it's like, hey, I'm gonna blow these guys, and then I'm gonna start crying, and like we're gonna show me all hopped up on medication.
I'm gonna get abused and raped and fucking beaten, this stuff.
And I'm like, is it heavy? That's where, and that's the problem too with what you kind of talked about in your review, was they did a horrible job marketing this thing because there's no indication that this is fictionalized. Like. Events that happened, but as to what exactly happened, like DiMaggio, right? She gets with DiMaggio, she's calling him daddy. I'm guessing that's the fictional part. But DiMaggio, on Wikipedia at least, it says he was abusive and their relationship ended because of that. And in the movie he beats her. So I'm like, okay, like that, translates. I'm like, I don't know if she got it on with these two dudes, with the Chaplin Jr. and the other guy. Like that could have really happened, but to the extent of what they were depicting happening seems sort of like, I mean, it was probably fictionalized. So, I mean, if they had gone through and explained that this was from a book, I think it would have resonated a little bit better with people. I mean, I went into that knowing that, and this was still like, Jesus Christ.
Well, like, I don't have an issue necessarily with, like, directors or writers fictionalizing events or the life of, like, real people. I mean, take Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, for example.
Rick Dalton and Cliff Booth.
Yeah, not getting into, like, spoilers or anything specific, but that movie feels like, you know, it's clearly like a fictional retelling of someone's life, but it's
events and
the events that happened.
Yeah.
But it does so in a way that feels tasteful. It feels like it's sort of almost paying tribute to the person that they're portraying in that movie.
And yes, well, one, you know, it's fictionalized because everyone knows about the events that happen and the outcome versus, you know, what we actually see. So it's very easy to see that and go, oh, okay.
Yeah.
This one, I don't really know much about Marilyn Monroe's life. There's probably historians out there that, yeah, they're very familiar with it. But like when you take actual events and you take someone that we know as this, I mean, it's in Hollywood. I mean, when you talk about beauty, fame, stardom, and you know, hypersexualized stuff, like you talk about Marilyn Monroe. You know, and that's so everything that was going on, if you don't tell me it's fictionalized, like I'm watching, I was like, all I know is that like she supposedly had an affair with the president.
Right.
She's been, you know, she married Joe DiMaggio when DiMaggio was at the high, like DiMaggio is DiMaggio, you know.
Arthur Miller.
Yeah, and big time screenwriter, you know, so like you have all these marriages and things going on, and then they're showing it. It's like, is that really how she got into Hollywood? Like, is this really what she had to do? So that's why I think there's, like you say, it's tasteful. I say tasteful, but I also say there's a clear distinction between it being biopic versus fictionalized.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't know, maybe people that know like 10% more than I do about her would walk in and be like, no, obviously this is all unreal.
No, I think you have a point. I think that the Tarantino movie goes out of its way to tell you that, hey, this is fictional. And
like Inglourious Bastards.
Yeah. Like it's more so comparable to that than it is this movie. But I guess where my point is that, like, if they had made Blonde, like, tasteful, given her more dimension to her character, made it feel like there's weight to what's happening to her, and not just that it's misery porn, then it would have been a lot better of a movie.
Oh, yeah. Come on, dude. Like, that's 100% agree with that. Like, why don't we show a little bit of her business side and her going in and sticking up for herself?
Give her character.
Yeah, and then you really play into the reason why she's going into all these bad relationships and things are happening is because she's always felt, you know, there's been a void from not having a male figure in her life and always looking for someone to, you know, help out with whatever that missing link may be, you know, and you can have, I mean, you have businesswomen that are successful that are into weird shit. Like I think at one point I talked to Jasmine. I was like, this feels like a BDSM thing. Like she's like really, like seriously,
Daddy.
like there's a
Hi, Daddy.
Like some weird shit like going on with like I'm like I don't know if that's some undertones for that going on. Like it's very hard to pick out exactly what he was trying to say. I think the best thing that I got, we both agree, is that they were showing how she was taken advantage of, and that she never really got a fair shot. And like many women of Hollywood, I'm assuming, you know, or it has happened.
I mean, shit. Look at Weinstein. Like that shit was super recent.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you know, like because the film goes out and she goes in, meets a producer. She's like a clerk. She wants to get into film and she wants to be like this low kind of low star of a movie.
Yeah,
and she's got to go blow that dude. You know, and it's like, okay, like I don't know if that's really how that's where I'm like, if you don't know much about Marilyn Monroe, it's like, okay, Weinstein just came out. Like, did that really happen? Like, or is this just showing like nameless face? Throw it in there. That's how you get your break.
Yeah,
you know.
What did you think? What did you think of the fetuses?
Oh my god, yeah, I fucking know it.
You're not gonna kill me again, are you? Or like whatever the fuck it said. Like the third one.
I don't know what. I didn't get the whole thing. I don't know. We're having a baby, and then And then I'm like, did she really have an abortion? And everyone out of everything that I saw was no, she didn't.
Yeah, I read that like she had miscarriages.
Yeah,
But like there was no reports or like events taking place of like her having like a forced abortion or like her going to get an abortion.
Well, the doctor thing, there's always an examination on her. It was another thing that I took away, and the fetuses to me just felt like there was some sort of representation of, I don't know. And there's always an examination on Marilyn or on Norma Jean, so that's why every time that they go in there, show stuff, it was always prying and eyes on and. I don't know. I didn't know what it was supposed to mean.
When that fetus spoke, like it said, "Please don't kill me," I just started laughing. I thought it was so funny.
They're bizarre.
It was super fucking bizarre. I had no idea what was happening there. I put my arms up. I was like, "What is happening in this movie?" We're like 50 minutes still of like it being done.
This is 2 hours and 47 minutes of this. There was at one point like a Tree of Life sequence in there with just images going on and showing like. How babies kind of start, getting like inseminated or whatever. And all of a sudden it's like, she's like, I'm pregnant.
Yeah.
We're going to have a baby. And she's holding both their hands. And I'm like, why?
Yeah.
What is, and I'm like, she doesn't have a kid. So, hey, guess what? Like, in terms, here, more misery porn. Here you go.
There's a lot of, like, those really long, drawn-out scenes of, like, her just, like...
lucid states, surrealism.
Like, it just... Even, like, her on the beach with Adrian Brody, which, by the way, I did kind of like Adrian Brody's acting in this movie.
I thought he was good.
I thought he was pretty good.
I liked him. I liked the two twins. DiMaggio was all right. And here we are going on all the males, but I'm like... It's not Ana de Armas' fault for what happened. She just was given a shitty role, and they pretty much, it felt like, it's like, hey, you're really good looking. Why don't you just cry the whole time and show your tits, and that's all you're going to have to do.
I would never blame any of the acting for why this movie is not good.
No, dude, it's the writing. The writing in this and the fucking tone of whatever he was trying to go for.
The intent is so unclear. And, like, he's made so many quotes as to, like, it's almost like he contradicts himself. He's like, yeah, I want to like really delve into like who Marilyn Monroe is, but then he'll also say shit like, yeah, I really just want to focus on like the misery of it and like what you get surface level. It's like, what are you going for here?
Right.
Mr. Dominic.
Yes.
Mr. Chopper. Mr. Killing Them Softly.
What if we just throw in this really cool, 90-second montage in here? We'll have kind of, just this really swelling music and everyone can see the time lapse with the baby getting ready only to have her have an abortion. How's that sound?
Yeah.
It's like, this thing's 2 hours and 47 minutes. We could take that out and make it 2:46. That might be cool,
Mr. Dominic, I've been working for 23 hours every day.
In the editing bay, please, sir.
Please. I've just been staring at black and white for no reason.
Yeah.
He's literally said that, like, he includes scenes of black and white for no real reason. There's no through line. Over stylized. If there's no reason for it, he's like, I have a really cool shot in my head that I want to do. Mm-hmm. And there's all of the... I thought about this today while I was thinking about like the recording. So it feels like to me, Andrew Dominic has like a tendency and like almost like a weird, not obsession, but just like a thing for telling stories that are spun in a different way or are not true. Mm-hmm. Like the assassination of Jesse James by the coward Robert Ford. Like,
right.
I haven't seen it, but I've heard that is like a spin, a fictionalization of like a real life person. Chopper, obviously, is more of a biopic, but the tagline of that movie is "Don't let the truth get in the way of a good story."
Right. Like
that's literally the tagline of the movie, and I think that's like, aside from like some of the cinematography and like the visual stuff, like that seems to be like one of the most consistent themes that he carries through most, if not all, of his filmography. To me,
yeah,
and
it's a pretty good assessment.
Yeah, and I feel like it works more so with a character like Chopper or like a person like Chopper because he's a criminal. He's naturally untrustworthy. He's someone who you can't really gauge in an accurate way.
Unreliable character.
Exactly.
And I think that's why he set up the whole mental state in the very beginning with the mom and her so that she's unreliable in what she's presenting.
Yeah. But then he does it for a character like Marilyn Monroe, and it just comes across as disingenuous. It feels like somebody who is like just going through the system, getting abused, and that's all this movie has to offer.
And the whole so the other part that you probably fault with it too is that if she's unreliable and she's going through all these things, is it to say that it was that bad?
Right.
Which if you're trying to come off as it is, then make her fucking reliable.
Exactly. Right?
Like, that's what... That's why I was so confused with the mom character, and she'd go back and she'd be talking to the mom, and all of a sudden they go back, like she'd look at the mom and then they go back to her, and then they go back to the mom and they look at her, and all of a sudden there's a different screen behind her, and she's talking, and then she's getting yelled at her, she starts crying, and then someone else pops in that's not the person, and then it's just the next scene.
There's so many scenes where like they show her being mentally unwell with like her running through the hallways with the fire, like the house on fire, her hearing the baby in the drawer, like being stuck. She's like, I gotta go get the baby. It's like okay, if you want to depict like her going through these events accurately, then why even have that? Why even do that?
That's what I'm saying.
Is that supposed to add depth to her character? Because it isn't. It feels like a cheap way to kind of create visuals and create conflict.
Yes.
I don't know.
We're concerned about her welfare, I guess, or her state of health.
Yeah.
But I don't. They bring it out in the first. They bring it out in the first 15 minutes, and she's probably not going to be doing well in the head. And then it's just a theme throughout. And I'm like, I don't get that. She's sad all the time. I don't get that. Mm-hmm. They take advantage of her. Yet she's had very successful business dealings. Don't get that. And meanwhile, I think it's the only time when it clicked with me of, oh yeah, they're taking advantage of her is when they get to the subway scene, which actually that went on for 2 hours in New York. That scene. Yeah. And they said that there was crowds, like 4,000 to 5,000. I mean,
with like her blouse all being blown up.
Yeah, and everyone was hooting and hollering and groveling. And that's when I was like, oh, this is a bigger sentiment towards women of Hollywood and how we treat women in Hollywood. Mm-hmm. And it took me that long to get to that point because the whole time she's had 3 miscarriages. She's had these lucid dreams intertwined with reality, and she cries.
Yep.
And I'm like, 2 hours and 47 minutes? We had to do that?
I mean, it's not surprising that it took you until that scene to get it, because this movie, it really doesn't feel like it has a point.
No, they have a threesome, and then they're on a waterfall that turns into a waterfall, and it's a transition into her starring in Niagara. Yeah. Only to get her finger banged by the 2 dudes, and then a producer looking at her like, if you want another one, you're going to blow me. And then the whole time she's sitting there getting off on this shit, and I'm like, why? What are we doing?
What's the point?
Yeah, like, and
it's like Jesse in Breaking Bad. What's it all mean? What's the point?
Like, okay, maybe if that's going on with the 2 dudes, make it 2 dudes she doesn't like, because it looks like she's just having a great time. Yeah, and she's playing it. She's finally starting to feel, I don't know, a little dangerous, I guess.
What did you? Before we wrap this up, I want to talk about this at least, and it kind of leads into our next movie. Mm-hmm. What did you think about the NC-17 rating?
So I didn't think this was NC-17 at all.
No, me neither.
Not even close.
I've seen movies that I feel like are worse than this movie.
100%.
Like there's no other than like the implied domestic violence that happens off screen and like her falling over and having a miscarriage. There's no like violence in the movie. And like the most sex you get is like her being sexually assaulted, her boobs being out for like half the movie, and then the JFK scene, which I've heard is the reason why this movie has an
that
NC-17.
one. I wouldn't be shocked, because I was like watching that, I was like, oh my god, like this is very. That's when I really did feel bad at that scene though. I was like, this is not a great. This isn't good.
That scene to me felt like a. I don't know how else to describe it, but it felt like a warped skit. Like a weird, like after dark SNL skit that you'd get on like some weird edgy YouTube channel. Like it felt like too edgy to me.
I wouldn't even go. Well, I'm not even like just her as a character. Like you brought in, Secret Service brings you in, the president's on the phone, and he's like, all right, come on, blow me. And then you're just watching her go through it, and obviously she's not enjoying it. This is obviously, she's gotten to the pinnacle of the most powerful men in the world. pretty much being able to do whatever they want with her. So now she really isn't, she's got no control over what's going on.
Yeah.
Which with the whole daddy issues, I was like, I feel like she'd get off to this as opposed to feeling miserable on this, but I have no idea. It's still just a bad spot to be in because like
it's hard to tell with the way they portray her in this movie.
It is. I mean, and that's where I was kind of like, they and all this is going on, and I'm like, you just see her eyes, and you can kind of tell that she's like, I'm not enjoying this, and I was like, that's when I was like, man, it's kind of dark with, she had to do this throughout her whole life just to be, and that's why I don't know if it's fair to her. Because, I mean, if she really did negotiate things and she was a successful businesswoman, like, why don't we have a little bit of that in there?
Yeah.
Give me a little bit of that.
Give her a little bit of depth.
Yeah.
I don't want to stay in the shallow end of the pool.
The closest we got was her sticking up for herself on the salary. That was about it.
Yep.
And then they don't even allude to her. They didn't even say that she got it.
Right.
That was like what drove me nuts. Because like I think after that, when she did Some Like It Hot, that's the one with the subway scene and Jack Lemmon. I was like, they're showing that. I was like, did she get paid more or what? Because if she didn't, then I totally agree why she's always crying. But I mean, like if she did, then she's kind of got the balls to kind of call her own shots.
Yeah, I don't think this movie needed to be NC-17.
No,
I think honestly, it feels like they used that rating to sort of market the movie in a way, especially since it's on a streaming service. If it was coming out, obviously it'd be super limited if it was coming out in theaters and it had that rating. But the fact that it was on Netflix and like everyone who had a Netflix subscription could watch it. It's like, yeah, this movie's NC-17. Well, this is the movie that they don't want you to see, blah, blah, blah. Like, it almost felt like he was using that as a way to like market the movie.
I would say after, and we'll get into it with the other one, but there's two ways of viewing it. One would be like that, and I think it would be more of a spin job, if anything, because after seeing what we saw, it's like I definitely know why they made this NC-17. Like between a couple of those things and one of the whatever it was, behavior, abortive behavior, abbreviated. I can't remember I can't say it, but the scene with the twins.
Oh yeah,
that one was, and then the JFK thing. I was like, I definitely see why this is why they did it, and to me, it almost felt like they had to do a spin job with it, and it turned into. But the other aspect is this movie's so shitty that we made it that way. Like, we have to do the NC-17. Your parents don't want you to watch this. God doesn't want you to watch this, and it turns into like, this movie's really bad. No one's going to watch this. This is our kind of chance.
That's all it feels like it has to offer is just the shock of it. And like the fact that you're seeing big name actors on screen, like basically blowing each other, like sexually assaulting each other, like all this shit. Yeah. That's kind of, that's how I feel. I mean, it's one of two ways. And I think both of them are spin jobs. Yeah. I could see it either way. Was there anything that you wanted to touch on with this movie? Anything else that you had any notes for, or anything that we didn't talk about? No, I think we covered it. I mean, I was curious as to some of the symbolism in it, or maybe the metaphors that were going on with like the fetuses, but it sounds like it was just all empty calories. So I mean that's whatever. I mean, I think we nailed the tone, and I think he showed us a film that he probably didn't. Well, 12 years in the making. It definitely seems like it was 12 years in the making. That's how you know a good director versus a bad one. Tarantino spends 12 years fucking making something. It's like, holy shit. Like, that's wow. He did put it in the time. He's refined it. He made it tightly knit. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, 2 hours and 45 minutes. Yep. So much tighter than this shit. And the pacing feels a lot better. Yeah. That movie, Blade Runner, movies that are that length that are critically acclaimed for a reason. Tight scripts, characters that have way more depth. Oh, yeah. Right? So very nonchalant, very subtle hints to as though what their motives are and who they are or why they are. This did nothing for it. We never got any care. It was pretty. Yes. You get more depth in the Bruce Lee version that you see in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood than you do for Marilyn Monroe in this movie. It's insane. And he's on screen for like 10 minutes. Yeah. Yes. So dumb. Yeah. We can get into ratings. Okay. I'm giving this one a 4 out of 10. Wow. Same here. Awesome. Yes. Yeah, I like the acting, the visual stuff. A lot of it was really impressive. really cool to look at, but it doesn't help it if it has no meaning, and the story and the writing just didn't have any depth at all.
Yeah, that's exactly where I was at. I mean, if we're 45 minutes into a movie and I'm like, boy, I don't know where this is going or if this is making any sense. Like, that's when I know. That's why I put shitty expo. I was like, I couldn't tell you when Act 1 stopped and Act 2 began.
Yeah, when you ask yourself what's the point,
yes,
then might not be the best sort of endeavor that you're on.
I mean, I did like the characters. I thought Ana de Armas, for what she was given, did a fine job. And I don't blame her for anything that happened. Because
Me neither.
Dude, like, what do you do as a director? Like, you're just gonna, hey, like, just take off your top and put yourself in a bad mental state.
Yeah. Well, the actors, they did a decent job, and I mean, they're doing their jobs,
right?
And they're doing the best they can with the material
Dominic
that they
didn't
had.
write this script, did he?
He did.
Jesus Christ. Mm-hmm. Just when I thought there was a silver lining for him.
Nope. He had full control over this project.
Good on him. And Netflix, he fucking conned Netflix.
Hopefully his next project is a little more valuable, I would say.
Well, and what sucks is, like, you don't get the box office on any of this stuff, so they'll probably just see how many clicks or times it was viewed. Like, that's the only...
Blonde 2.
Well, I mean, like, I'm just saying as his career, this is a movie that, like, a lot of... How much did it cost? Does it say in there?
Let me look up the budget. So the budget, it says it was $22 million.
$22 million?
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Yeah.
It
So
seems like,
a little bit more on the modest side in terms of Hollywood.
yeah, and they probably got lesser known actors in this. So, I mean, Ana de Armas and, I mean, shit, probably Adrian Brody were the heavy hitters.
Adrian Brody's the second build, and he doesn't even come into the movie until like an hour and a half in.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Xavier Samuel. He was in Twilight Eclipse.
Oh, good on him.
Yeah.
He's been in some good ones.
I was watching the movie. Me and Megan were watching it, and he popped up. I'm like, because he like plays like one of the main bad guys in that movie.
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, I know that fucking guy. He's Charlie Chaplin Jr.
Yeah. I actually liked his character. I thought him
He's a decent actor.
I will the scenes with her and the twins, I mean, outside of like the weird, like, we're just gonna bang you.
Yeah.
I actually was like, fun times. Like, that's kind of like what it would feel like to me. Like, if I had to think about young people in Hollywood and how they would act, like, you have all the money in the world, you can do whatever you want. Let's just, we'll just drink and we'll, be happy, and it's just us three versus the world. I mean, that was like the only, I at first I was like, what the fuck's going on? It just weirded me out. And then it was like, it kind of turned into this weird, like, Spring Breakers vibe, of, hey, it's us versus everyone else. It's, we can do it together, kind of unity, the Gemini. And then they just fall out for no reason. They just, like a lot of people.
Yeah, they don't show you like what happens between them. It just cuts, and all of a sudden she's with Bobby Cannavale.
Yep.
Like,
yep.
Okay, cool.
And then, he hits her, and then all of a sudden Adrian Brody's talking, and it's like, oh, maybe that's her dad. No, it's Arthur Miller. They're gonna get married too.
Yep.
So like the Bobby Cannavale one, he played DiMaggio, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's when I was like, that kind of makes sense. Of I know why she left him, but after. Yeah, there's yes. There's not a lot of explaining. We're just gonna focus on her and just what she did or didn't do.
Speaking of threesomes,
yes,
our next movie that we're talking about has a lot to do with sexuality, violence, ratings in movies. I'm of course talking about This Film Is Not Yet Rated, the documentary that we both watched that I recommended.
2006. Yeah.
So I got Blonde. If you want to tackle this one,
I would. I'm sorry that you had to do Blonde. I related a lot more to this one than that one. So I mean, it's kind of. I
have a little bit of experience with that movie. So
yeah, and then this movie's directed by Dr. Kirby Dick.
Yep.
Produced by Eddie Schmidt. Premiered at Sundance and received a limited theatrical release on September 1st. IFC, the film's distributor, aired the film later that year. So essentially, this movie's about this guy. It's a documentary that wants to figure out what's up with the MPAA and how they rate movies. He wants to dive in and figure out what the heck's going on. Why haven't we heard a whole lot about this? And expose some of what's going on with MPAA.
Yeah.
And so we pretty much just get to hang out with Dr. Kirby Dick. And I think it starts out, there's some talking heads. They kind of, this is what's going on. Once Jack Valenti gets in there, they kind of talk about like in 67 or 68, they have another newscast that pops up about, this movie that came out and how the studios they got to figure out how to wrangle this. And then it just dives in. And Kirby, he wants to go out. He goes out and hires a PI to try to figure out who the members of the MPA are, who the board members are. All of this because it's all discussed in secret. There's nothing on. There's no ability to meet them, see them, know who they are. They're totally hidden.
Ask them why.
Huh?
Ask them their reasons for the ratings.
Yeah. And figure out, what's going on. So that's pretty much what I got for the gist of it.
Yeah. This movie, I guess to say about like the content and like the whole idea of it, it's kind of hard to find. It's not easily accessible, not that easily accessible. Luckily, it was on watchdocumentaries.com. I was able to pull it up on my phone. I could cast it to my TV, thankfully, so I didn't have to look at my fucking telephone like David Lynch says.
It's funny because I did watch this on. Well, I had it running on the laptop. It kept freezing.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it kept saying the memory. It's like there's too much memory usage and it's slowing it down. I'm like,
it's weird.
That doesn't make sense. I'm streaming this.
Yeah.
Like it's memory. It's
You're
just
not downloading it.
Yeah, it's not sitting in the banks, So I ended up putting it on my phone and streaming it on my phone. I watched the last 40 minutes on there. I mean, it's very engrossing.
It is. It's a very informative documentary. And I think that's what I mean, obviously documentaries, you want them to be informative, but like this one, I felt like it really honed in on like the valuable information. It felt like it was structured in a way that was really effective, helped me to kind of understand the whole politics and like the history of the MPAA and the reasons for the decisions that they make, kind of like delving in, asking themselves why they make these decisions and trying to find the answers out. I thought it was all really good. I thought it was really compelling. And the information that you do get is, it's quite striking. Just the operations that they use to rate movies and like the whole history of that.
100%.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
like you go into a movie, you don't really think about like what goes into like the rating of it and like what goes behind it. Like you go see a Pixar movie, you just kind of assume it's going to be PG because kids movies typically are like PG. I mean, shit, I don't even know if we get as many G-rated movies anymore. And then you go see like a PG-13 movie, you know what to expect with a movie like that. You know that you're going to get some violence, but it's not going to be like gruesome.
Right.
There's not going to be any gore, and the swearing that's in it is going to be modest.
Yeah.
They're going to say shit, they're going to say damn, but they're not going to they may say fuck once.
You get one F-bomb
in a non-sexual context.
Yes.
And this is stuff that like the general public doesn't really know, like that goes into like the ratings of a movie and like how that's implemented. What I found interesting is that in the whole kind of investigative angle of the documentary is like the MPAA is the only movie rating system in the world officially that doesn't disclose who their members are. They don't make that information public.
Because they don't want to have them interfered with.
Yeah, they don't want them, air quotes, influenced in a way.
Judges, public officials, all of them are on record. They know who they are. Mm-hmm. They have to make decisions.
Yep.
We don't want them. Yeah, this thing got set up to be a very... there was a question that he asked the guy. He goes, besides the CIA, what branch or what group do you know of that doesn't reveal who the members are and operates in sort of secrecy? And the guy was like, I mean, honestly, I don't know.
It was interesting to me when they were just driving by the building and like they have this huge gate. You have to like enter a passcode to open it, or you have to like talk to the intercom, then like hope to ask to get in. You drive around the building, like all the windows are tinted. You can't see inside.
Yep.
Like there's this whole like private angle to it that just, I don't know. It's kind of like the Streisand effect. The more you try to hide it and make it secret, the more people are going to be curious about that sort of thing.
I don't. So what was interesting to me is that the context or this sort of issue, I guess, if you will. Mm-hmm. I've never been in a conversation where someone starts complaining about a movie being PG-13 and not understanding why it is. Mm-hmm. Or rated R and not understanding why I'm bitching about the MPAA. I thought it was a very interesting take by this guy to want to know more about it. I am so curious as to what aroused his curiosity, because it isn't something where it's like we need to poke and prod into this.
Yeah. It's not something that's on like the general public's mind. It's not like we're all collectively thinking like what's behind the MPAA.
Yes.
But the fact that it is so kind of like small and specific makes it more interesting in a way.
Oh, 100%. This was I'm telling you, like when they started going into this stuff, and I'm like, yeah, what the fuck?
A lot of what this documentary was how an NC-17 rating for a film being made is almost like a death sentence for a movie. And how when that's applied to a film someone's making, it's like they got to go through all these processes. It's like, okay, I'm basically not going to be able to show people this movie how I want to.
It's so interesting when you look at the dynamic, how it, I don't know if it's the First Amendment, but how it strips artists of doing what they want and presenting what they want.
I wrote down a bunch of notes for this, and
cool.
One of the last things I actually wrote was a quote that one of the I think it was either Jack Valenti or someone directly under him who said, "We want to give artists the freedom to make the films they want, but not too much freedom." You know, and
it was a church official.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, it was one of the
because I remember that one
clergymen.
I thought it was very hysterical. Are you gonna read off the whole quote? It's a fucking.
That's all I wrote.
Oh, it is such a fucking two-sided quote.
Uh-huh.
We want to provide you the freedom to make what you want to make, but with that freedom comes choices about things that probably shouldn't be like reflected within the context of what people would see it as. So we have to limit that freedom within the freedom that we're granting. Mm-hmm. And I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? That's not freedom.
No, so there's so many moments where Jack Valenti just says shit that directly contradicts what the MPAA does.
Yes.
So like he'll say something like how an NC-17 rating should negatively affect a movie. If that's the rating that you get, then you should still be able to show as many people the movie as you want. Meanwhile, the fucking NC-17 rating limits so much how many theaters you can play your movie in.
Right.
And what's interesting to me is like towards the end of the documentary, you find out the identity of like the board, the appeals members, like the board of appeals members.
Yep.
Most of them were CEOs and heads of theater chains.
Yeah.
In America.
Yeah.
And I was like, when those names started rolling in and telling me like who they were and like what their positions were, I was like, holy shit. Like this all ties in together.
It is so, dude, they've made a tight-knit group on what they want to show, and I bet you it's backed by a lot of the churches. Mm-hmm. I'd have to imagine that there's something that's involved with the MPAA system and why there was a Protestant and a Catholic. Was it Protestant or
it was a Catholic and a
Presbyterian.
It was like pescatarian or something.
Yeah.
Started with a P. I forget exactly what it was. Two different denominations.
Right, but they were in there, which made it fascinating to me. I was like, why are they on it now? Mm-hmm. And then it's like, oh, probably because they have a heavy vested interest with some of these, like, whatever's going on with cinema and Hollywood.
Well, Jack Valenti, like I wrote in my notes, he talks like a preacher. He talks like a televangelist when he's on the podium talking into the camera, like about like what the MPAA is all about and like how he feels about it.
We're protecting your kids, and we all have kids.
Exactly. It almost sounds like people who say that like Pokemon is the devil and will turn your kids into Satanists.
Yeah.
It's like almost that level of like kind of crazy. And it makes sense that he comes from like a a political background. Like he was like a lobbyist in Washington, so he has a lot of connections.
Johnson.
Yeah,
like he was part of the formation of the CIA, or at least saw how it got developed.
And so it's no surprise that like he has some kind of weird view of like what art people can and can't see, and how like he thinks that they're an organization that like has this sort of, I don't know, like not goal, but like responsibility to the American public. Like we're gonna protect children. We're gonna protect the public from like vile content and you know what they see. And it's like, okay, first of all, like one of the talking heads in this movie pointed out, it's like teenagers already know a lot about like adult content and like are doing those sorts of things themselves. Yeah, Kevin Smith
started going on. He was talking about the one chick's daughter, and then he went a little too long on how she might be pleasing herself.
Well,
I
mean, Kevin Smith's kind of a weirdo, but anyway,
Kevin, if you're listening, sorry, shout out.
Sorry, Kevin.
Yeah,
come on one day.
Stop by.
Yeah, it's just take a load off.
Wow. Okay. Are we going for those types of jokes?
No. That's not what I meant. Yeah. But you know, the gist of what he's saying is like teenagers, they're not stupid. They know these adult subjects.
We can't hide these things. It's probably better if we talked about it and made it less awkward than to hide it and brush it under the rug and just avoid that conversation.
Exactly. And so like, and it's a weird concept to me that like, we have to protect these children, but at the same time, it's like these kids already know about this stuff anyway. You're not really protecting kids. You're just kind of like controlling what people can't see, because anything that's slightly challenging or slightly like against the norm of like what ideas people have, you don't like, and you don't want as many people to see them.
Right.
So I thought that was funny. There was another contradicting statement that Jack Valenti made, where he said that most of our NC-17 ratings are attributed to movies with high amounts of violence, and violence is the biggest reason why we give that rating. Meanwhile, NC-17 ratings are most like notoriously like solely slapped on movies that show like sexual content and like sexual content in a way that's like apart from the norm. I
got it. That's why I think it was abortive.
Was that the word you were trying to think of?
Is that a word?
Abortive? Maybe.
Abhorrent.
Abhorrent. Okay.
Abhorrent.
Inspiring disgust and loathing. Repugnant. Abhorrent. That's the word.
Thank you, Google. Google to the rescue.
Yeah. Are we allowed to plug them?
They're already listening, so might as well.
Shouldn't have Googled that.
We have at least one listener, and it's Google.
Yeah, shout out Siri.
Google,
wait, no.
Siri is Apple.
Yeah.
Oh, they just unsubscribed.
Damn it.
Google, we went from 80 to 79.
MPA. Yeah.
Mac, no.
Yeah, abhorrent. That's the one. That was the abhorrent. I think like in Blonde, that threesome, I think, was abhorrent. I think that's why.
That's how Jack Valenti would see that scene. That's abhorrent.
Yeah.
That's why that movie got an NC-17 rating.
Yeah.
But it's interesting to me because there's the whole the commentary they make on like the culture of like how the U.S. sees violence and sex versus how every other country sees violence and sex.
They really did. They compare, like, really Europe was the compare and contrast.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And
that's what they kept going with. It's so bizarre because Europeans would almost want to have the sex in there and take out the violence.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of our PG-13 movies, a lot of them probably wouldn't be viewed or maybe have a different rating over there because of the violence that's involved with it, as opposed to seeing two girls or two guys kissing or going down on each other.
Yeah. Like a movie like The King's Speech. That was rated R in the States. And only because there's the scene where he's going, fuck. Like, he's trying to, like, he's working with a voice coach or a speech coach.
Yeah.
Because the whole premise of the movie is he has a stutter while he's giving speeches. Mm-hmm. And so that movie is, like, they had to release a PG-13 for the States so more people could see it, and they just took that scene out. And it's like, okay.
Really?
Yeah. It's like, it doesn't make that much of a difference, so then why not just give the movie a PG-13 rating anyway?
Yes.
It's like they do a really good job in this movie of like showing the different examples of like...
Oh, yeah. The best one that they did was a side-by-side of the gay couples versus the straight scenes.
Yeah.
And then I was like, they were showing that, and I was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Like that's where I thought the church had more of an influence on what was going on.
I'm almost definitely positive that that's what it is, because like they'd have a scene where like this guy would be doing this girl like doggy style, and like obviously they wouldn't show anything super explicit, but that movie would be given a R rating. Whereas if that same exact scene was in a movie, but it was just two gay guys,
Mysterious Skin with Joseph Gordon-Levitt, perhaps,
it would be given a NC-17 rating,
which I think it was,
because it depicts homosexuality, and anything outside of the norm of, or like air quotes, the norm of like what they think is,
dude,
like normal, I guess.
They gave American Psycho, they were talking about it, and so the director, they get back to her and she's like, it's like, what do I, because it's really weird. Like they'll go through it, they watch the film. One, I don't know if I could do this. I was like, man, that'd be kind of a kosher job, sit back, just watch movies all day.
I was gonna say, I had that same thought. I was like, I wonder what would happen if I had this job.
Yeah,
like where I just have to go through and like give movies ratings of like what I think about the content.
How long do you think you could go? I mean, you literally have to watch movies every day. Like, do you think you could? I don't know. I feel like all these people are fucking psychotic.
I feel like for me personally, the whole wonder of watching movies and like the appeal of it would just kind of dissolve,
get stripped,
it'd get worn out. Yeah.
Like your kids would be like, can we go see this in theaters? It's like, no.
It's like people who want to be video game testers. It's like, I want to be a video game tester, I get to play video games all day long. But it's like, yeah, but you're literally going through like the shit version of like a video game in its alpha state, like trying to write down all the bugs and like find everything that's wrong with it. It's a super tedious task. It's like, is that really what you want to do?
Yeah, because because it's going to take away from you actually liking to play the video games.
Exactly. And that's the case for so many people. So it was kind of interesting to think about the implications of that. They really didn't address it too much in the movie itself, but it kind of made me think of
people that do
idea.
It?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's just a fun thought. I mean, because you really don't. It's crazy because like everything that's going to make a theatrical release has to go through the process. So I mean, it's not like, it's not like you just have off days or you get to wait, for whatever. I mean, like it's every day you probably walk up, you're watching two films, you got to go through, grade it out, and then they actually show some of the critiqueness that happens in it.
Yeah, they dig through the garbage and they find like the worksheets.
Get rich or die trying. They had, it says 20 fucks, 20 plus fucks, 20 plus motherfuckers.
Yep.
There's a scene that could imply sexual nature or whatever. I don't remember exactly what they. But it's funny because you actually get to see the notes. It's like, dude, that does not sound like a great time.
I wrote in my notes, Matt Stone, one of the creators of South Park.
He was fun.
Yeah, I liked the inclusion of like pretty much all the talking heads and like the information that was being given.
Aronofsky, I did not know who that. I did not know that was Aronofsky.
He was a baby. He was a little baby boy.
I know. I mean, it was just like I seen it. I was like, oh my god, that's Aronofsky. I always figured he had like hair going everywhere and was like a mad scientist.
No, he's just some guy. He's just some dude.
Well, the director of Requiem for a Dream, I was like, oh.
Yeah.
Like that's
brings back memories.
Yeah.
Ass to ass. But I wrote down in my notes, Matt Stone had different interactions with the MPAA after 5 years. I'm trying to remember what context that was, because it's one of those notes that I wrote down, but I'm like, why did I write this down? I know I wrote it down for a specific reason. I think it was because he had an interaction with them for like Team America World Police, and there were like all these different like sex positions that they had like the puppets do. It's like literally just two puppets like smashed against each other like kids would do.
Yeah.
And they gave him like an NC-17 rating, but then they came out with South Park like after that or something.
Yes.
And it was like given an R rating or something like that.
Oh my god, they talked a little bit about Bigger, Longer, and Uncut too. They just brought it up. I remember them saying they had to take out like I can't remember.
Yeah. Oh, I remember what it was.
What?
So before Matt Stone had his interactions with the MPAA, and he's like, what can I take out to change this? And they're like, oh, well, we don't want to give you anything specific. We don't want to give anything.
Oh, it was Orgasmo.
Yeah.
It was Orgasmo when they were like, what can you, they go, well, we're not at liberty to just give out like what exactly. I mean, we're just here pretty much to tell you that you'll have to make some changes in order to get your film at a lower rating.
And then 5 years later, he's in a similar situation. They're like, oh, just take this out, just take this out, just change this, just move this around. It's like,
that's when he found out they were bullshit.
Right. There's like no credence. There's no sort of backbone to that organization.
What I was talking about with American Psycho, that when she got it back and they were like, pretty much just you'd have to change the tone of the movie. And she was like,
yeah, how do I change the tone of a movie? That was fucking ridiculous. I couldn't believe that.
That's when I was like, this whole time I'm like, all right, I kind of get the MPAA, I kind of understand. And then once you get deeper into it and they do shit like that, they're like, yeah, we just didn't like it, so it's gonna get NC-17. It's like, you cannot fucking. We just dropped as a studio fucking $20 million on this thing.
Yeah,
you can't just say NC-17 because you didn't like it.
Like, yeah, they'd have to like reshoot the entire movie. They would basically have to like cancel the whole project. It'd be fucked.
Like, dude, yes, exactly. And then
the tone of that movie is what makes it work.
And I'm curious as to how the studio heads figure into all this, or if this is just something that's completely like Valenti saw like, oh, this is how I get a bigger cut for myself. You know, like, oh, like, you know, a movie comes in from Universal, right? They come in, it's kind of like a little edgy, you know, it's like, NC-17, let me get over there and talk with Weinstein about this and see. Weinstein then has to pay him like $6 million to get it dropped without the edits on it. You know, like I feel like this is so much more going on than just the directors versus the MPAA.
Well, like Jack Valenti was friends with like the heads of like all the different like big studios. Like he was friends with like the CEOs and like the CFOs and like all this shit. And those studios were, of course, like bigger parts of like other companies, or they were like smaller parts of like bigger companies, I should say. Yeah, and like those conglomerates, I can't even speak today.
Abhorrent.
They were abhorrent, aboriginal.
Yeah, it's an aborigine. I probably shouldn't say it like that. We love you for listening.
They were like, those companies had like lobbyists in Washington, and they would pass like all these different laws that like pertain to movies. Like I wrote a few of them down that when they listed it, there was the Copyright Term Extension Act, which is basically why Disney is able to keep all their properties even though they're over 100 years old, is because fucking they just are able to like renew their copyright for things, even though before it was like, oh, you get 20 years with this, it goes into the public domain. Yeah, you know, where artists can use those characters to make different stories and like interpret their own version of things, you know, kind of stamps on, you know, creative storytelling that way. The No Electronic Theft Act, which basically like, you wouldn't download a car, would you? Like that sort of thing. Like if
hanging out at the Bay of Pirates.
Yeah, the Pirates of the Caribbean. Yeah, Johnny Depp, my favorite.
Yeah, his Bay of Pirates.
It's basically pertains to that. Yes. If you've got a file on your computer, you get like 5 years in jail, $20,000 fine or some shit like that. Yep. And then there was the Digital Millennium Software Act, which isn't, you know, from what I read, it wasn't too different from like the No Electronic Theft Act. Yeah. It was just on a bigger scale, I guess. But I'd have to read more into that. But basically, a lot of the laws that were passed by friends of Jack Valenti, and they basically had a lot of control over like what movies, you know, how people could watch movies, whereas like Jack Valenti had a lot of control of like what movies people watched, you know. So just a whole thing going on there, a lot of connections.
Well, and that's where it got into. I don't know. So they portray it as the directors versus the MPA, but at the same token, the studios are paying the directors, so the studios probably don't want these things to get NC-17. Now, to how much they have a say over that versus what the MPAA can do is what I'm kind of curious about, because I feel like if that's the case, the studios would be against the MPAA as well, right?
You would think, but you know, there's movies, of course, where it seems like they clearly influence them to like go for those like PG-13 ratings.
I bet you, I was just about to say, this is the studio wants it to have it this way. They don't have direct control over the artist, so in order to gain that control is
Exactly.
You put in this, and it restricts what the voice being heard by the director.
Yeah, like we can't show people Venom as much if it's rated R, and he's eating heads on screen,
right?
And like he's disemboweling people. We gotta play it safe. We gotta have people see Tom Hardy in his glory. We gotta get 13-year-olds in those seats, because otherwise, I guess they'll be traumatized if they see Venom in his full power like he was in the comics, even though those same 13-year-olds read those same comic books.
Yep.
So whatever, I guess.
It's so bizarre.
Like, that's an interesting notion to think about too, is like there's like ratings for video games, but there's like no real, like, you can be a 15-year-old going and buy an M-rated game and you'll get it. Like, that's right. You can download those games online if you haven't. Like, there's no form of regulation that's as tight as the MPAA is for movies as there are for video games. There's the ESRB rating, but they're very, like, hands-off with it. They'll just tell you, like, what the rating is, what content is it, but, you know, it's ultimately up to the parents and the individual, which I feel like is how movies should be, you know? It's ultimately up to the parents. The MPAA says that they're representing the parents in terms of like their decisions for their ratings, but they don't know what parents
I watched
are thinking
American
about this.
Werewolf in London when I was 10.
Exactly. Like, and you're fine. You're not a werewolf.
I hope. Oh yeah,
Mac, you're
definitely
you okay?
fine.
You're scratching your foot with your ear with your foot right now.
At 3/4 moon, huh?
It is dark out.
I'm definitely okay.
Woo. But you know what I mean? It's like,
yes.
I wish that it had that same effect for video games as it does for movies. Or like
I was about to
versa.
say, are you trying to hint that we should get like mature and then not put? I would say it's really.
I just want it to be more up to like the parents and like.
I'd agree with that, and I'd also say that whatever guidelines there are to have them defined. But they don't do that because they have to maintain control of how they rate it. Yeah, which is that's what's insane to me.
What's insane to me is like how much an NC-17 rating can like stun the growth of your movie, and like how
that one I always knew about. I mean, dude, like when they said it was extra NC-17, like there was a big deal because I think not Urban Cowboy. What's the one with Hoffman and John Voight?
Hoffman and John Voight.
Yeah, it's
You're not talking about Brokeback Mountain.
No. That's 05. This came out that movie got an X rating. It was about a pimp, and then John Voight played like this cow. Oh my god.
I'm not sure.
Hold on. So, but I mean, like what I'm saying is, that was a big deal. That was an NC-17 or rated X, you know. And then I think what happened was you saw the sales of the film because there's a negative connotation with the rating itself. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna get the people that are mischievous that probably are like, oh, that's got to be some really dirty content, you know. But there's really nothing to back it up on why it is or isn't. Right. You know, which is kind of stupid because, like, American Psycho could have got an NC-17. I mean, there's a bunch of films. Team America could have got NC-17. And it's fucking puppets doing dumb shit. Yeah.
It's a fucking South Park comedy, basically.
Yeah.
Like, it's of that same vein.
Well, and the best thing is, like, he's talking about it, you know, and he goes, it's Midnight Cowboy. Midnight Cowboy with Hoffman and John Voight. Okay. He's talking about it, and it felt pretty much like they made that film to say, like, piss off the MPAA, but do it in a way they knew they could fucking finagle the system. Yeah. You know? But then the funny thing is, like, the sex scenes with the puppets, he goes, we didn't even care. Like, we would have edited it out anyways, unless they told us to, but because they did, we put more in there. We just crammed it in as long as we could.
He was like, we didn't even want to put these scenes in the movie, but here we are. Like, we feel like we have an obligation to because we're very anti-authority that way.
That's clever doing it. But yeah, that was that, and I really liked. So my favorite person in the whole thing was probably Becky.
Was Becky the private investigator? Okay.
And I thought Dr. Kirby Dick. I thought it was really smart on his end. So this whole thing too, obviously, it's a documentary, right? Yeah. He had the intent of making this NC-17. He wanted to go out of his way. I think it's pretty clever the way he wanted to do it, because if you had taken out the scenes that they showed all this stuff, like he could have edited that out. it didn't have an impact on what we saw as people. I could show pretty much this movie, I'd say, to a 13-year-old, and they won't be like, I'm going to go out and find a prostitute.
Right.
You know? So he
It's
did
like
it
video games, how like people, like parents will think like, oh, or like political people will think violence in video games leads to these shootings. It's like, no, there's no correlation there. There's no proven study.
Yeah, it's probably because we aren't talking to the kids, and there's a lot of pent-up emotions they don't know how to express or get out.
Yep.
So I thought it was really clever on his end to hire a lesbian PI. Mm-hmm. Just to keep adding to the... He could have gone out and got any one of those PIs.
Yeah.
I'm fairly certain he picked her for that reason alone, is because he was trying to cram all this stuff in here about how little this should have impact on a rating and how much it really affected the rating.
Well, it's like right after they discuss... It was that one director who was talking about her movie...
but I'm a cheerleader.
Boys Don't Cry or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
How like it, she's a lesbian, and how like there's the MPAA is scared of anything that's not traditional, not heterosexual. Mm-hmm. They talk about that, and then of course, like right after that, they go into the private investigator and like her relationship and like a little bit of her history. It's like, oh, okay, they kind of like tie this in a little bit to what they're doing, trying to identify the MPAA, which I thought was pretty clever, kind of cool, kind of neat.
Yeah, I like that. And I liked Becky. I mean, it was a fun time. I thought that whole the PI stuff going on was really well done.
I liked it. It made more sense the later into the movie it got, because like when I was watching it as it was happening, I was like, this feels a little cheesy, feels a little kind of goofy, a little too goofy for me. And of course, like this movie is kind of more so going for like an absurdist kind of comedic tone a little bit. Like, oh, I can't believe the MPAA is like this. Right. Look at how funny and stupid this situation is. So I kind of get that that's what the tone is and like what they were going for. But at first, to me, like the PI stuff felt a little too goofy, a little too kind of cheesy for my taste. But
I'm the exact opposite, because I mean, I'm like, this is happening in real time. Like, this kind of it's just weird. Like you're snooping people out. And then to me, I wasn't really drawn into the whole. I felt it was like a little mischievous.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, they're trying to, they kind of allude that you don't know who it is. So they're going to find out who these people are. Right. So, I mean, it makes it kind of fun, but I'm like, I really don't care. And then by the end of it, I was like, oh shit! Like I really hope that they figure out who these people are and like what's going on.
Yeah, and I like the idea of it, but for me, it was more like the technical stuff, like a lot of the way they filmed it and like the music that they included, like kind of like the cheesy, like it almost sounded like stock, sneaky, investigative music almost.
Well, this guy directed it, and he's a doctor, so I mean, I don't think that any. I think he was just showing light on an issue and trying to do his best with like
right. And I'm not saying it didn't have any value either, because later on in the movie, when it shows like the appeals board and that whole scenario that he goes through, which I really liked, that he got an NC-17 rating specifically so he could go to the appeals board and like tell us what that whole process was like.
Yes,
I really enjoyed that. But it makes sense later as to why he did that. So then you get the reveal of, oh, these are the members on the appeals board, which of course you learn are like most of them are CEOs and like the heads of like theater chains, which was really insightful. Like one of the best moments of the movie for me, for sure.
Oh, just getting all that information thrown at you. Same here. It was awesome. Now I didn't know, is the appeals board is different than, so what I didn't get is,
so the appeals board is different from the people who vote on like they decide the rating of a movie.
Right.
So like someone will watch a movie, they'll go through it, they'll give it a rating based on content or like what they think the rating should be, and then I think like a few people will discuss it, like maybe some of the higher ups, but then they'll submit it, they'll put it in, they'll call the director, be like, hey, this is what your movie got, an NC-17. The director can appeal that or try to appeal that, so then they have to go to this like basically court hearing, and like the appeals board are different from the people who initially give it the rating.
That's where I was trying to, so, and then I was trying to figure out, so do you, once they give it back, do you have, so here's what I didn't get. You can appeal it if you don't want to make a change. Right?
You can appeal it if you do want to make a change. So like here's the thing, you don't have to appeal it. Like
Right.
you can
It
get
say
an NC-17 rating and you can keep that rating if you're fine with it, I guess. But the appeals board is there because they know that people are going to want to change their rating if they give it a certain rating.
It's not the rating I'm talking about. I'm saying about the film itself. Like if the rating came back and they go NC-17, here's what we found wrong with it. You can make those edits, resubmit it. Same people.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
So if you appeal
don't
it,
want to re-edit it, if you're like, this is my original content,
you're basically appealing for the movie you initially submitted.
Right. That's what I was trying to figure out was when that was going on with the appeals board. I'm like, I don't know when these guys get involved because I feel like everyone knows so much of it's out of my own hand that, and then you find out that they're pretty much just working in conjunction with the reviewers. So there's really no separation of church and state. You know, there's
quite literally, they have clergymen that are part of the appeals board, but they don't say that they're part of the appeals board.
Right.
They basically lie to them. They say that, the clergymen don't take parts and votes, but then when they get the anonymous guy who is part of the appeals board to talk into the documentary, he's like, oh yeah, the clergymen they do take a vote in the process of appealing the movie. It's like, he's like, wait, I thought that they didn't. And he's like, no, yeah, they do. I think I'm already saying too much of what I can say.
Oh my God. Like, it's so funny too. Like the MPAA, and it made it seem like they were like going to get executed. Like that guy was definitely had a feeling of like, my car might blow up as soon as I start it.
They had like a boogeyman effect to a lot of the people who like worked in it and like were a part of it and like former members. It's like the crazy thing too, to me, is like, they had to sign contracts or like NDAs like after they left. They're like, oh, you're not going to say anything that could like be harmful towards the MPAA or like hurtful or like whatever. It's like, well, what constitutes harmful? And they leave it vague on purpose so that if you say anything about the MPAA, then they can sue you. They have like legal basis to sue you, you know? It's like, well, what? It's like if you can talk about us, I guess, but if you say anything harmful, you know, it's like, well, that's literally just anything that you don't want people to say to anybody about your organization.
Oh yeah, that's why they do it. I mean, it's keep, loose lips sink ships.
Yeah, even if it is the truth, it's like, oh, this is harmful to our organization. It's like, okay, but it's also the truth. Like,
well, that's why this whole thing, someone called it a fascist, state. I was like, it's very, very spot on. I'm wondering so he had to do the appeals, right? He had to do you think that he showed everyone that he knew who they were, or do you think they found out once the movie got released?
I think if I remember right, he kept asking, would anybody like to identify themselves? Why can't I learn like the names of like the people on the board?
Well, let me rephrase it. All right. We see the ending of the film, right?
Yeah.
You know who the board members are, right?
Yep.
You know their names, right? Okay. What I'm saying is, do you think he showed them that, went through another...
Oh, the final version
so
of the
then
movie?
They got to see like, oh shit. Or do you think he released it and then they had to find out on their own? That's what I'm wondering about. Because that would be the biggest power play to me, would be like...
Oh, man.
Oh, yeah,
I don't know.
Here's my final cut. And then it goes into... blah, 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 CFO of X amount, CEO of X, CEO of, and like, you're just sitting there like, holy shit,
Yeah. It was wild. It was wild hearing the woman on the other side of the telephone.
Joanne Graves,
when she's on the phone with him and she's like going over like the rating for the movie and like how he can go through the appeals process. And she's like, it's funny to me that she gives him permission to like record the first time, but then like the next two times it's like a recreation of what the conversation was like.
Yeah,
because she didn't give permission the second or third time.
She knew what was up. She's like, you're not fucking putting this on here.
Yeah. It's like as soon as he started asking tough questions and like questions that she didn't have any like legitimate answers for, it's like, oh well, nope, I'm not gonna. So let you do this.
When they do that, like obviously he's got the recording. Can he just go verbatim on what she said with a reenacted voice, or does he have to change it and put it in like in gist?
He can reenact it and like, because I think it's like the same line as like, oh, like, I don't know, criminal shows or whatever. Like, if you reenact it, it's fine, I guess.
Oh, so
like if it's not the actual person's voice, because
Right.
technically you're not recording them. You're just going off of like what that conversation
and there's
was.
nothing to say that this is true or false. Like, so with the
Right.
reenacted voice, you could be listening and be like, oh, they could have taken liberties with what she said.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure they did that with the lawyer. It kind of seemed like they did.
Some of it seems like they cut down dialogue and they kind of had it shortened up. Like, kind of, instead of, if you were to give like a, 35-second answer, they could condense it into like 8 seconds. Like, no, we won't.
Yeah, a lot of it did feel kind of like condensed and like straight to the point, kind of trimming out the fat, I guess.
Yeah, I think so too. But it definitely felt like it was original in terms of what was stated.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that part. I'm gonna scroll through my notes, see if there's anything that I missed. It was just a really intriguing, really informative. I wrote down, but I'm a Cheerleader gets NC-17 while American Pie gets R rating.
Yeah,
it's like, but I'm a Cheerleader is like more of a drama. It's depicting life in like a conversion camp and like. I think it was a comedy. I think it was supposed to be like, or a dramedy. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
It was a coming of age movie, similar to American Pie.
Trying to poke fun at some of the stuff of what was going on, because she was a lesbian. She had a kid.
Yeah,
because she also was doing the. Everyone says that they're for the average parent, and she's like, well, I'm a lesbian. I have a 3-year-old daughter. I'm an average parent. Like, is this not?
Meanwhile, American Pie has like more raunchy stuff going on in that movie, and it's an R rating.
Maria Bello, when she talked about the cooler.
Yeah.
They got an NC-17 because they saw pubic hair. Mm-hmm. And she was like, I just was watching, movie, Scary Movie. And she goes, a chick
she gets stabbed in the breast.
And they pull out the silicone boob, and she's bleeding, and there's blood everywhere, and she's dying. And obviously, that she's like, that's an R. Like, I don't get where we're at. And I forgot. They got pissed at the cooler about something, and that's why it was her getting an orgasm. Yeah. So they're like, that's why they gave it. They pulled out the pubic hair. They said that was it because of what she had, because they couldn't say it was because of that.
They were uncomfortable with the female orgasm being portrayed the way that it was.
Yeah.
In the duration that it was. And then they get like a glimpse of the pubic hair. They're like, oh no, that's it. That's the NC-17 right there.
Yep.
Slap it on there.
Yep.
So I thought that was quite interesting. Really informative documentary, really interesting. I learned quite a bit. I learned a lot today.
Yeah, I enjoyed this thoroughly. I guess my question is, last thing is, do you think? I mean, is the MPAA appropriate in terms of its needing it? And do we need the MPAA? Do you think if we had guidelines, should there be MPAA or should there be unrestricted content on what's shown? Could you take out that organization and feel better off if some of these movies made it into the theaters and had the chance for people to see them?
I think so, because like at that point, it's more so like according to like what the parent can let the kids see. It's more so like what the individual theater can choose.
Well, but you still have to have a rating, right?
Right.
That's what I'm saying.
If it was like I said before, if it was more like a hands-off approach, like how the ESERB rates video games, then I think it would be a lot better than the sort of kind of power that the MPAA has. And like a lot of the reasons film is altered and art is changed is because of the stigma and the view that people have of movies that are like rated NC-17, and like they're afraid to get an R because they're afraid that not as many people are going to see it. It's like, it's one of those things where it's like creative liberty is sacrificed for the sake of like air quotes protecting children and like what the MPAA wants, and like that sort of stigma that they've established for themselves,
So if you did it, right? Would you? I mean, because I kind of like the user or the video game, and then if it's rated M for mature, that would be your 17 plus. Yeah. But that's more of a rated R 17 plus. Like, so if I was without parental guidance and I was 16, a movie theater wouldn't let me go in there. But if I was 17, I could see it. Or if I was with my parents for a rated M, I could go in there with the parents.
Yeah.
Right? That's what we're kind of saying, is that it's pretty much. And really, it would be either like rated G or rated. Well, and that's what I'm. So that's the other point it comes to too. Do you still have to have the G, PG, PG-13, or are there certain levels that you would have this where viewers would be able to walk in without having to show identification?
Yeah, if those like same ratings were there, but like it had more so to do with like the individual choice and like what the parents can let them see, then I don't think it would be an issue.
So they should really switch up the guidelines on this and switch it up and identify why it is PG-13 or why it is rated R.
Have like a more set guideline, because like the problem with the MPAA is that they just pick and choose.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's where I'm with you on that. It's like, well, why don't we have these are the restrictions that they went over this line into the next boundary.
Yeah. There's like a lot more nuance to different types of films than a lot of people think, like with the gay relationships and the straight relationships being compared,
Well, it really, there was a lot that they showed that I was like, I don't know why this is turning into this ordeal.
Yeah.
And a lot of it was sexuality between whether it be viewing women being pleasured or whether it be, homoerotic or homosexual relationships, whether a guy or a girl, and those were like the two big things that they just really hit on.
Yeah.
Was like, that's really when it kind of comes into it. Violence, it almost makes it seem as long as there's no blood, who cares?
Right. Violence is a lot less frowned upon in the States than it is over across the pond.
Across the pond, as they say.
We can wrap this up unless there's anything else you wanted to touch on.
That was it, dog.
What would you rate this?
I would rate this a 9 out of 10.
Nice.
Yeah,
cool.
I enjoyed this. I had no qualms with it. This is the schlocky music, I think, actually almost helped me a little bit more, kind of with it keeping it outdated. But it's a really weird. This is how I kind of feel. It'd be like think like a Roger Clemens strikeout or Nolan Ryan strikeout record. 300.
I know who that is.
Huh?
No, nothing. Never mind.
Yeah, I don't know who that is. But I'm saying, like, you could, that record will stay there. So, I mean, as much as we modernize everything and it never gets touched, so it's kind of fun to go back and to see that record being broken and living in the times of when it was. Because you don't need to modernize him striking out, 385 guys again, because it just, the whole vibe with the old. So, this movie being schlocky with some of the music and some of the talking heads and how it looked a little grainy and it wasn't always well edited. I love that because it lives in the time of 2006, and here we are 16 years later, nothing's changed. So it's kind of fun to go back. Like if I just told someone else to make this film exactly the same way that guy did it, imagine how much cleaner, well edited, the music, all of that stuff going into it would look. And that's why it's funny to me, because you still have it would be the same content, just looked better. So I love that it lives in that time.
Yeah.
So that's why. And then the content's original. What they dive into is pretty creative. And all of it. I just loved it. I thought I was engrossed the whole time.
I'm giving this one a 7 out of 10. Closer to an 8 than a 6.
Yep.
Love the subject matter. Love the information that I got. I feel like I definitely was educated in terms of like how the MPAA operates. Really, my only hangups are like the technical aspects, some of the music they used, a lot of the investigative stuff felt a little cheesy, but it had a purpose, and I realized it later in the movie, so that helped me out quite a bit.
Yeah, I was about to say, I think we kind of differ on that of it, but you're pulling it. I mean, literally pulling it out of a treasure chest.
Really, it did feel like a time capsule.
Yeah,
in
that's
a way.
That's why. I think it just. I appreciated it for that, but I mean, I would definitely. I don't think anyone could go lower than 7 though, because of the content and the information that's received.
Oh yeah,
like that alone just should have it at a 7, regardless of.
It's really valuable.
Yes, I think everyone. If you guys haven't seen it, I mean, I've seen go watch this. It helped me out with Blonde. Like it's helping me out. It's probably going to help me out with a lot of other movies that I watch now. With like. I wonder what had to get cut or what they had to do.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Speaking of getting cut, I'll tell you what, we're not going to cut out our question segment that we have. So I posted a question thread. People left us some good questions, so we'll get through those right now. Our first question comes from Michael. Who is a movie or show character that most represents your fellow co-host? Well, if my Halloween costume's any indication, Walter White for me. Yeah.
Visually, yeah.
Visually, yeah. For like 3 days, I guess.
Well, that dream you had, you're starting to get there mentally, too.
I guess so.
Yeah.
Like, I am the one who shouts at you in the movie theater.
Yeah.
For Mac, I don't know. I mean, I feel like we've had a similar question, but I guess I can...
I'm pretty sure we've had, and it's no knock on Michael. Right. That's who posted it? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. I'm picturing... For some reason, for you, I'm picturing like a character from The Big Short, like Adam McKay. Like, someone like that. Not necessarily maybe like in a financial realm, but just sort of someone who is really involved in like a specific type of thing, and like that's their nuance, and like they could tell you everything about it, and they love to I guess really articularly convey their emotions and their viewpoints in that way. Yeah. So I don't know, maybe like a Steve Carell or like Ryan Gosling from that movie, like whichever characters those are.
I take something that. Like that. Yeah, that's a pretty good. I take that. Someone asked me yesterday, after the loss, they were like, I forgot what
Rip.
Just depressed, and I had about 6 daggers sitting in my chest. But I forgot what I said. I said, I was just being me, and she was like, "Are you a writer?" I was like, "What?" She goes, "Do you write?" And I'm like, "No, not really. Like I don't." And she's like, "No blog." I go, "No." She's like, "Oh, like you're good with your words." I was like, "Thanks." I was like, "But I can't get it out on paper. It's like all in the moment." I'm a stream of conscious talker.
Someone who's like a good verbal storyteller. Yeah, I feel like would be a good representation of like you. Yes, as a character.
I think so too. I mean, some of my stories are really shitty, but
I mean, story's a story, man. If you can tell it well enough, then it's not shitty after all. So.
That's what I hang my hat on.
That's what I tell myself before I go to bed.
Yep. Well, that's why I don't tell stories. Yeah. So for me, for me, actually, I'm thinking Robin Williams and Good Will Hunting.
Like to play me? To
play me. Because you said Walter White. So you already took Walter White for you.
Okay.
So if we're doing like who we had to play, I would do Robin Williams from Good Will Hunting. I started to see how I feel like I relate a lot to his character in terms of kind of emotionally where he's at and what he's going through and how he wants to help people, and it doesn't matter how much baggage you have. Yeah. For you, it's actually kind of crazy, but I'm going Jamie Foxx from Collateral.
Okay.
Yeah, every time we talk, I always feel like you've got that next big step coming, and there's an unseen force that's kind of pushing you into those next steps.
Tom Cruise is behind me with a gun.
Yeah, well, I don't want to say but every time you see the growth of a person, and that's where I see that. I see more and more of that now. Okay. So I'd say you're more Jamie Foxx. Probably after he grabs a suitcase and throws it, and then he's got to talk to what was Javier Bardem's character?
Oh yeah, God, I forgot his character's name.
Santa Claus.
Yeah, Santa Claus, Black Peter.
And do you know how upset the Santa Claus would be?
Yeah,
he'd be fucking furious.
Yeah, it's like I'm fumbling around, but then all of a sudden I get like a little pep in my step.
Yeah.
It's like, you tell him that I fucking don't care, or like whatever, whatever he says.
That's what I'm saying.
My name's Vincent. Thank you. It's a good answer. Good question. Yeah. I think we got some good answers there. Benjamin asks, is Damon Lindelof a goat or a goat?
I had to look. He wrote Lost, right?
He's a big TV guy, so yeah, I'm gonna look him up right now.
I did a little bit because I didn't know if he was an actual goat. If they named a goat David Lindelof, I think he asked because on my thing I said nothing ambiguous, so he had to ask an ambiguous. But I'm like, I don't know. I don't know much about the guy, so I'm gonna say he's neither.
So for TV, he did Crossing Jordan, Lost, The Leftovers, which I heard is pretty big, Watchmen, which I've heard okay stuff about. He was involved in The Story of Phineas and Ferb, Nash Bridges. So yeah, he's got like a decent foothold in television. Lost being the biggest one. His films, so he's mostly a writer for films, and those include Prometheus, World War Z, Tomorrowland, and 2020's The Hunt, which was like that political, like violence, like battle royale movie almost. So I mean, in terms of television, he's got a lot of critical acclaim, and his name carries weight in like television circles. But in terms of film, I'd say, you know, his resume isn't that impressive.
Is he a goat or is it a boat? I say it's a boat. It means go to the Bay of Pirates.
In terms of television, some would probably argue that he could be a goat. I'm, of course, lean towards Vince Gilligan.
Yeah.
But, you know, I'm a little biased. But he definitely does have a stake in television, that's for sure. And he's got value there.
This isn't, well, I guess we talk about entertainment. I don't know.
Yeah.
So you're going GOAT status for TV, boat status
possibly.
for...
I'm not going to say it definitively.
Yeah, he's got the question. You can't just not answer. I mean, it's... so he said, is he a GOAT or is he the GOAT?
You know, in terms of me, like, leaning more towards movies, I'll say he's a GOAT.
Yep, same here.
Yeah. Sorry, Benjamin. I don't know if you're a fan of David Lindelof or not. Damon.
I think they, like him and our other buddy, I remember when I was living at the house in Grand Valley, big Lost guys, if I remember right. So that might be where it came from. I haven't, which actually maybe tie into another question by another fellow friend and listener.
My mom loves Lost.
Yes.
It's like one of her favorite TV shows. Keegan asks, if you had to choose between being the star of the least watched film of all time and having an uncredited role, or no word said appearance in the most watched movie of all time, which one would you choose? I think I've got my answer.
You do?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I think I would want to be the star of the least watched film.
Okay.
I think that it would be more valuable that way for me, because even if no one watches it, I could basically put that on a resume of sorts and say, I have this experience. I have leading man status.
Yeah.
I have the potential.
It worked out for Taylor Lautner.
Yeah, right? Twilight, that fucking spy movie he was in or whatever. I forget the name of it. Shows how effective that is. But, you know, it's like...
Yeah.
If I have a small role in a big, like, no speed, I'm basically an extra in like a major movie.
Yes.
Then it's not gonna get as much credence, I think.
Yeah, I agree. I think most of the answers I heard was the, you know, big role, because really it's one of two things, because I know there have been people that have excelled in shitty movies that got them more roles because of how well they looked on, and then you have the other side of it with you were the big name in a bad movie and you made that bad movie even worse, so you kind of take it. I lean on how I kind of am as a person, and I'm big on team, and I like to partake in successful things. So I think I'd go the other way. I'd go unaccredited, small role for a very successful film. And I don't know if, you know, depending on where I'm at, I mean, if it's just an extra, like, whatever, it's still one of those things where if we win an Oscar for it, like, I'd be able to say I did my part, you know? So that's where I'd fit at. A lot of the talks that we had was, you know, what would you do? And I was like, and it's not to say that it carried the weight of being in the bad film and having my name plastered all over it, but I don't know if I could handle that of being part of some shitty movie making process and then have to be the guy that, you know, not to say responsible for it, because obviously, I mean, it's Ana de Armas,
right?
You know.
Well, I don't even think the question necessarily was like bad movie. It was just like least watched film. So it was more like you make a movie, it could be good, but nobody really knows about it or has heard of it. But
that's true. And well, what did he say about the other guy then? Because I want to spin that shit.
So no words said appearance in the most watched movie of all time.
Okay, so I was in Coda, and I was one of the sign language people. There you go. Suck it, Keegan.
Is Coda one of the most viewed movies of all time?
I don't know. I'm just saying. I mean, well, whatever. I mean, no words spoken. Fine, I'm signaling that shit in.
Oh yeah, no, technically no verbal words spoken.
Yeah.
You're trying to loophole this.
Yeah, well, you just did. Least viewed movie. Yeah, there's a lot of good movies that no one watches.
I mean, I'm sure that's true.
That is probably true, but there's a reason least viewed. Because, like, all right, let's say there are. Like, you come up to me and you go, dude, listen to this least viewed movie and who's in it. And you give me that actor's name, and I just stare at you and I'm like, awesome. No idea who that guy is. But I'm so there's right. Listen. I'm not too far off on this because I think it'd be really fun to be the star in the least viewed movie too. Like that would just be a great time.
I'm thinking of more so for me, just like the personal enjoyment, like what I get out of it, the experience, and also I guess I'm kind of thinking in terms of like if I'm the lead in like this really small movie that no one's gonna watch, it's like, okay, if I'm the lead, I might have like a little bit more influence over like how the story goes or like how the movie's made, something like that. I have my fingers dipped into the movie making process a little more than I would if I was just like a extra in a movie or like a non-speaking supporting role or something like that.
Yes.
So that is my line of thinking. But I can definitely see the other side of it, kind of gaining that sort of perspective of being in a movie that everybody sees. I think that would be kind of neat too.
Agreed.
So there you have it. Gideon asks, this is for you, if you had to choose between not having Dr. Pepper for the rest of your life. Oh no, this one's for me. Sorry. He asked two different questions that are basically like for you and for me individually.
Yes, I saw him.
So this one is for me. If you had to choose between not having Dr. Pepper for the rest of your life and having Mac's head growing 3 times its size, which would you choose? I'm going to have to get you new headphones.
Damn.
So there's my answer.
We call that addiction, everyone. And I now see where I rank compared to Dr. Pepper.
You're not wrong. Think of the caffeine that is from the sweet nectar of DP as my heroin. And yeah, you are my Jennifer Connelly. Mac, if you had to choose between never watching sports ever again or Kyle losing his arms, which would you choose?
So obviously this one's the layup, right? But then I really started thinking about it.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, let's say it's a if A then B statement. So if I watch sports, you lose your arms, right?
Okay.
I was thinking about it. We would be the best dog and pony show out there. Anytime we could go anywhere, right? And like I just pull up on the like we just start talking and I just look down at my phone and I turn on ESPN and your arms just fall off, right? Anytime. So then like I pull up my eyes and they just revert back up like magnets. That's how I'm thinking about it. If it were to happen, yeah, because then we'd have the best marketing out there. The NCP would be fucking insane.
Oh man,
could you imagine us doing live shows?
That would be epic.
And then like just and no one knows that like as soon as like I'm just sitting there and like I go like this and your arms just fall off and everyone's like ah.
Yeah. But then it so happens that we do it the one time. It's like a movie plot, right? So we do it the one time. I lose one of my arms because a dog like gets a hold of it. He runs away. Then it becomes an adventure about like us having to get my arm. I'm like one armed, and then like all of a sudden you're trying to avoid looking at anything sports related. Yes. So then that becomes an issue in itself.
And then all of a sudden we have that where like at the end of the act 2, it's like I'm getting really pissed off because I have like the Detroit Lions are in the Super Bowl or something like that.
You've got tickets in your pocket.
Yeah, it's like you can't go and do this. And I'm like, Kyle, we'll find your arm. It's like, we've already lost one.
You don't care about me as much as I care about my arm.
Yeah, and then you start drinking Dr. Pepper and my head's growing. That's the tension that we have.
But then in the third act, we realize, oh, wait, me drinking Dr. Pepper makes your head grow. It's like a balloon effect. I can use you to float, and we can journey on to get my arm at the climax of the movie.
Yes. And then we find the genie that made, a.k.a. Gideon, that made all this happen, and it's like the Wizard of Oz. Mm-hmm. He just pulls back the curtain, and it's like, What were you doing this whole time?
Yeah.
You know,
Except we beat the shit out of him.
Yeah, exactly.
And then we leave.
Yeah, you jump on you get him by the neck, and I'll kick him in the balls.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then
I'm choking him with my arm, holding the other arm.
And then we can see that this is rated NC-17.
All right. I hope that answers your question, Gideon.
Appreciate it, Gideon.
Yeah, thank you. Scott has a series of questions, which we might not get through all of them.
Yeah.
But we'll see how we answer them. If your life was a movie, who would be a dream actor to play you and your co-host? I feel like we've had a similar question.
We always have these like, imagine someone else being here.
Right.
It's like,
imagine it being me, but not me.
Yeah. Like, what would you, I think I fall under the lines of, I think I'd want to be Rick Dalton, Cliff Booth.
Okay.
One of us.
I'm Cliff Booth.
Either that or you're Rick and I'm Cliff. Like,
I was
really
gonna say,
don't care.
I feel like because Cliff is such a like physical character. He's very like athletic. He's very much involved in that sort of thing. I feel like that's more your realm.
I would agree.
I'm like more of the like emotional, like I don't know what I'm doing with my life. I'm so existential. Am I washed up?
What did you say about this Seven Fists McCluskey? Did you like that now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd be way more self-conscious about like the art that I make and the movies that I'm playing in. Like,
hell, man, you're all right. Don't worry about that.
yeah, I'm like crying because this little girl has like more emotional composure as an actor than I do.
Oh my god, that would be my honestly like that's why I love I've watched Once Upon a Time in Hollywood 3 straight days now just because I've had it on in the background.
Nice,
dude. I fucking love that film, and like that would be it for me. If it was a dream scenario, it would be literally us doing that. And then just coming back and instead of going to going back here and recording. Like that'd be the next all right, like let's record.
Yeah. Just imagine me as Leo and you as Brad Pitt.
Yeah.
His next question is, what's a popular movie or show you're ashamed to have never watched or binged?
None.
Mac is never ashamed.
If I was ashamed, I'd be like, all right, I probably should try to watch that. I could care less. I don't think there's anything that I've heard that someone's like, dude, people come up to you like, you got to watch this. It's like, if I fucking wanted to, like I would. Like, like there isn't a choice of like, oh man, I'm choosing not to see it.
It's like, what are you going to make me?
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, do you have anything? Is there anything?
I mean, really, it's like Terminator because of my name.
Jesus, Kyle.
But we've talked about this before.
We've aired it. All right.
I'm bringing it back to shame myself so I can pressure myself into watching it finally.
So he said TV show or series. I'm like, but
he said movie.
I think
or show.
Oh, movies in there.
Yeah.
Okay. There's 2 probably for me: Taxi Driver and A Clockwork Orange.
I'd say A Clockwork Orange is on mine. For me, like a Stanley Kubrick one that I think is more one that I'm ashamed to have not seen is 2001.
Yeah, but I mean I
feel like that's like a very big, like if you love movies, you have to see this movie. At least in my mind, it is. I don't know about you.
I mean, I've seen it. I really like it because there's a lot of metaphors and analogies in it. So there's a lot of people can take it different ways, and it's almost like if you had to take like, I mean, I think if you had to take like a philosophy of a given philosophy, whether it be whatever, I think you could put it into that film. That film has so many different ways of being interpreted that that's what I think makes it so great. In terms of it actually being a film, I view it just like I did The Stalker.
I was thinking of The Stalker when you were describing the philosophical nature of it.
Yes, like that's what that one is to me. So I mean, like I think my brother, it's like one of his top 5 films all time. And I think he genuinely means it. Like some people, like, I'm not going to lie, when people are like 2001's the top 5, I'm like, you're a fucking snob then. Like there's no way you genuinely mean that you could just turn that. Like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is probably creeping in the top 5, right? And I can literally turn that on and be soaked in every time I watch it.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I feel like when you say it, if you're doing that, it's kind of like the red wine that you're like, I can only have it once a year. It's like, then it's not your fucking favorite.
Right.
That means you really like it and treasure it and don't want to have it lose its value, but that doesn't mean that you love it.
Right. You just value its sort of the flavor that it gives you.
Yeah.
So I don't really have anything for TV.
I don't either.
So
people try to get me to say like Degrassi or
I would
The
say
Office.
people tell me like
Friends,
Game of Thrones is a big
Lost. Yeah, I'm not ashamed that I haven't seen Game of Thrones. Like I don't.
Yeah, me neither. I might try to watch it.
I thought you had. Oh, did you just see the last season?
No, I haven't watched any of it.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
I thought about watching it when the last season was coming out because all my friends were talking about it, and I was like, oh, maybe I'll watch it just so I can like be involved in something. And then last season comes out, everybody fucking hates it, and I'm thinking to myself, glad I didn't do that. Glad I didn't entrench myself in that bullshit for however many weeks it would have taken to finish that whole show.
No, fuck that, dude. I think if there was one show, honestly, if there was one show, and I've seen it, but if I hadn't seen it, it'd probably be Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
Would be the only one that I'm like, that's taboo if you haven't seen it. And you say you like entertainment.
Yeah. His next question is, what upcoming Marvel movie are you looking forward to the most?
Pass. I don't fucking. I literally went to look this up, and I started going through like new Marvel, and I'm just staring at
We're not even gonna like touch on this.
Well, I don't have a fucking. There's nothing that I see. I'm like, and Scott,
not even anything like you're remotely interested in.
Scott's
seeing?
asked some good questions, and I'm happy he got on here to ask these. But no, and I'm not like scoffing at it. Sorry. He asked, and I did the research on this. So I like went and started like looking through, and I saw a little bit of the timeline on like what's coming out. Read a couple of them off. Like the one that I thought looked the coolest was like the Blue Beetle or the Black Beetle or something like that. That had the
Black Beetle.
Yeah, it's some Blue Beetle, something Beetle.
Okay. There's Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania. Is that what you mean? Has to do with bugs.
No. This thing's literally called like the something Beetle.
This fucking website is not loading in. It kind of sucks dick.
Here, hold on. Let me see it because it's probably on my.
Are you? Yeah. If you find a list, then
I don't have a list. I'm not looking. I looked up the list. Like it popped up on Facebook or something.
A lot of these I don't even know about.
Yeah, Blue Beetle 2023. But I don't know. A Mexican teenager finds an alien beetle that gives him superpowered armor.
The fuck?
Expected post-production. Expected August 18th, 2023.
There's a lot of like weird, like the Thunderbolts. It's like got the guy. It's like Winter Soldier, the new Black Widow, the guy from Stranger Things who was in Black Widow, the fake Captain America that was in the show, and then like a few other people. Interest, like that's kind of weird. I don't know. I mean, shit. I can't say that I really am super interested in the upcoming Marvel movies as much as I was like during phase 1, phase 2,
right,
phase 3, like anything. I shouldn't say anything. A lot of the Marvel movies after Endgame, I feel like have not kept my yearning for more movies the same way that a lot of the movies before did, you know?
Yeah. Actually, I take it back. I'll tell you right now. Avengers: The Kang Dynasty.
That one is probably going to be the most
May 2nd, 2025. So I've got fucking 3 years.
Yeah.
Before I get a hard on for Marvel again.
How old will you be then?
Oh, not old enough to not love Marvel.
Oh.
I'll say that.
His next question, his last question in this set of questions. What's an embarrassing story in your life?
Yeah, I've got a lot that are probably like to keep under my hat, as they say.
Yeah.
I did tell Jasmine. She's probably, when she hears this, will be laughing because I told her an embarrassing one that I usually don't hesitate to tell people, but because I don't know how far this gets out, I'll save it. No, there was one time. So this one is just kind of like, it's a funny kind of embarrassing, you know. I mean, it's just like I don't know, awkward moment, but
yeah.
Go out with some friends, actually, a couple people, I'm not going to give names, but they asked a question here. Already talked about. We go out to we were out at a bar, you know, and one of them was meeting up with someone, you know, a girl down there. So we were kind of like, it was me and two other friends, you know, and one was meeting up with the girl. So it's kind of like the two of us were there to see what friends showed up or what, you know, who were gonna. So we get out to the bar and we go down and we've had some drinks and, you know, we meet up and then we're playing some pool and whatnot. And we go back to the bar and we're sitting down and some more friends show up, you know, and kind of was. We'd been drinking, for maybe an hour and a half or whatever, just at the bar, and kind of see everyone. Everyone's kind of lining up for the night, And my buddy that went down with the girl, he's sitting there talking to her. They're kind of shoulders to us, And my other buddy, he's sitting at the bar. He's got his shoulders propped up on the bar itself, kind of open up to us, and he's talking to a girl, and it's kind of like inviting me and this other chick to talk, But he's mainly invested in the girl, right?
Right.
And I'm kind of sitting here, and the girl that was there was, and I. Not to judge anyone, but definitely not of my taste. Okay. I'll say that.
Yeah.
And I don't want to paint a picture. Just imagine someone that you've been introduced to that you're like, I'm not really attracted to you, or nor do I care, like what, And it was kind of like she was like, oh my God, like, can you believe that? And so I really wasn't had any interest, right?
Yeah.
But we're kind of getting to the point where everyone's matching up, and I bought a beer and I'm sitting there kind of drinking it, and she was talking about some stuff. I just kept nodding, doing like a lot of the non-visual, the cues of like, please leave me alone,
yeah. Non-verbal.
Yeah, exactly. And so I started drinking my beer, and it had been quiet for like 20, 30 seconds. Enough in a bar where it's like that awkward kind of like maybe she got the point. And she goes like this, and she nods. She pulls me in.
Oh, like kind of like gesturing you to come over.
So I'm talking to her, and I'm standing up. She's sitting down. So we're only 2 feet away, but in a bar, it's ruckus, It's this crowd everywhere. And she gestures me to kind of come in because she wants to tell me something personal. Mm-hmm. And I go like that. So I take a drink, and I kind of like do that. And she says, and I'm like, what? And she goes, and I lean in, and she goes, do the math. And I was like, excuse me? She goes, do the math. And she like looks down the aisle, right? And so I'm like, oh my God, I'm being conned into having to sleep with her. It was, they're together. Me and you, buddy boy, we're together. Do the math. And I was like, I laughed. I was like, I got to get out of here. I gotta get out. I'm out. Like, I'm not. I looked at like, dude, or sorry. I'm like, I'm out, man.
I can censor that if you want me to.
Well, he won't give a shit because it doesn't. I don't remember who we were with or what we were doing, and I couldn't tell you the time of the year. I just remember that, and it was like, I was like, I'm gonna catch a cab, guys. I'm going home. I'll talk to you guys later.
Yeah.
And so we get back, and they're like, Mac, why'd you take off? And I'm like, that chick was like, she told me do the math, and they're like, what?
And you're like, I don't like math.
I go, literally, she did the fucking equation and was like, those two, you and me, buddy boy, do the math. I was like, I've never had a chick do that to me that was like, this is how the stars are aligning tonight, mister. So,
oh boy.
Yeah, that was a funny one for me.
My embarrassing stories, they're a lot of when I was like a real little boy, like a little adolescent baby. So the one that always comes to my mind for some reason is like I was in second grade and I had to use the bathroom. And right?
Uh-oh.
I know. So I have to like ask the teacher permission to like go use the bathroom. And like this is one of the first times where like I had to use the bathroom at school, you know, that wasn't like a closed off room. So I had to like go in the hallway, go to the bathroom on my own. And so I get there and I'm always like, I was always used to just peeing in a toilet. Like, because at home, just standing up.
Sure.
As opposed to a urinal.
Oh, okay. I was about to say a cup.
Yeah, as opposed to the sink.
Yeah, I haven't had to pee in a trash bin in a while.
Yeah. Boy, I grew up that day. So, I get there and I see all the urinals and I'm thinking to myself, I know if I go, and there was like no one in the bathroom, so I don't even know why I thought this, but if I go into the bathroom stall and pee in the toilet there, then people are going to think that I'm just a little baby.
Right.
Like I'm a little stupid baby that can't use the urinal.
You kind of gut checked yourself.
I know. And so I get up to the urinal and I'm like, because I've never used one before. And so I'm like, okay, I know I'm not supposed to pull my pants down all the way. So I just kind of do the thing where like I undo my pants, I pull my little friend out, and I like start pissing. But the way that I'm like trying to hold my pants and trying to hold my penis is like, it's really awkward, and I'm trying to like do both at once, and I really can't. And so what happened is I end up just pissing on my pants. I like completely miss the urinal, just like just get it all over me. And so like that happened, and I'm like, no, like what is happening? And so like I have to go back into class to the teacher and say I peed on my pants. And like they took me to the principal's office, and of course, because like this shit happens all the time, little kids piss themselves. They had like extra pairs of pants in the principal's office for me to wear.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. So I had to wear these.
You got the scarlet letter.
I know. I had to, except it was the scarlet pisser, I guess. Jesus. The letter was P. So yeah, I got these extra pair of pants. I could wear those, and that was my most embarrassing story, I guess, which isn't terrible since I was in second grade, and kids are kids. Like the kids are gonna forget about that shit. Kids do embarrassing stuff all the time. You know? But for some reason that one sticks with me, and that's always the first one to come up. Yeah,
that's not that. It's not awful.
Not the worst.
I got so much. I do something stupid and it just lives with me.
Yeah, I think about it at night quite a bit.
Lot of. I mean, it's not like think about, but like someone's like, "Oh man, can you believe I did this?" And then I go back and I'm like, "Yep, did that." like sometimes I hide it, and then other times, there's I got a couple NC-17 stories that I'll at some people will hear about.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll get there.
Yeah,
be released. Our last question comes from Sam. Your brother, Sam, your brother. He asks, speaking of embarrassing, what's the most embarrassing film you have ever purchased and had on DVD? Looking back on it, he puts in parentheses, I was pretty hyped to own Dumb and Dumberer, but is wildly offensive.
Yeah, I read that and I'm like, I don't. So once again, like I don't ever. A lot of the stuff I stick to, like if I mark it and say this is what I like or believe in, I don't really move from it. The two that I have probably embarrassing for me, one would be Pirates of the Caribbean at World's End.
Oh, nice.
Like the third one.
Yeah.
I don't know if I bought. I still think I have it, but the other one is Schindler's List. Just to be excited to own that film. I really look back on it. It's like I don't know why and it's not to say it's a movie that everyone should see once. I don't think anyone should own it. I mean, I don't want to obviously depict something. I don't know. It's. Have you seen it?
No.
Okay. It's heavy. It's heavy.
Interesting.
Yeah. You know what it's about, right?
Yeah. It's about the Holocaust.
Yeah. So it's probably. It's a pretty accurate depiction about what happened. So I mean, I don't know. I bought that film and I was like kind of excited to own it. Because at that time I was like, oh, this is a really important movie to have, and now I have it, and I'm like, I don't know, I'm never gonna.
You're like, why do I own this if I'm never gonna watch it again?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like it's like it's so, and it's not because of anything like that. It's just super heavy. It's a tough one. I mean, like you eat that, man, you're eating like freaking like you might as well eat 6 steaks.
Yeah, Gee, you're just gonna be in the bathroom crying for some reason.
Yeah,
whether the steaks or the content. When I was a kid, I loved the movie Kicking and Screaming. And so...
That's not a bad one to own, though.
Had that on DVD. Which I guess, I mean, compared to like my movies that I have now, I guess is a little... It's not like the best quality of movie, but,
That's still a good one. I love...
I could have worse Will Ferrell movies,
Dude, I mean, oh my... I went out and bought King Kong. Peter Jackson's King Kong.
2005?
Yes.
Nice.
Yeah, I saw it in theaters twice, and I was like, going to triple down on this fucker.
I just remembered. In like 2018, because my friends wanted to have a bad movie night, and I was like, I got the perfect one. So I bought the Super Mario Brothers live action movie on DVD.
Oh.
Yeah.
Were you embarrassed to own it?
I mean, not really.
That's what I'm saying. Like you gotta find.
It's hard for me to feel embarrassed about movies that I own, I guess.
Because you haven't gone out. See, that's where it kind of. You didn't go out and buy movies when you were in middle school or high school, and was like, this thing is kick ass, and then 10 years later, you're like, oh my god.
A lot of the movies I got were like gifts.
Yeah, that's where I was kind of sitting at too. Because I was like, I don't know if Christmas counts, but I definitely probably one of those. Like I own like Alone in the Dark is a really bad film that I own that it got gifted to me.
Oh, God. I got gifted. It was that fucking Queen Latifah movie. It was like a Christmas movie where she's like, she gets diagnosed with an illness and like she has like a certain amount of time to live. So she's like trying to live her best life during Christmas.
Oh, nice.
I forget what it's called. I'm going to type in Queen Latifah Christmas movie.
I was about to say, you'll probably be able to find it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's something that's...
Christmas movie. Last Holiday.
Nice.
So, yeah, it was this fucking movie. Someone,
good on ya.
Yeah, someone gifted me this movie when I was like 19, 20 or something. I was dating this girl and her like step grandma, so not even her grandma, but her step grandma was like giving out gifts to everyone.
And they thought that they'd be appropriate for you.
And she's like, "Oh, I got a movie for you." I'm like, "Oh, cool." And I look at it and it's fucking Queen Latifah and like Christmas movie. I'm like, "What the fuck is this?"
Some cultural appropriation, it sounds like.
I mean, I guess I have to learn, the culture of Queen Latifah Christmas movies.
Yeah.
Fucking, and I haven't watched it. I don't plan on watching it.
Dude, I don't know. I have probably a couple in my DVD bag that aren't mine.
Yeah.
Anyways,
that's it for questions.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure we got through all of them. Yep, looks like it.
Nice.
So, last bit of business, you get to make a film pick recommendation.
So what we're going to do is, just because now I think this is the second time we've recorded in a row that I've mentioned this film. I know you haven't seen it. I would love to watch it again. I haven't seen it in a little bit, but this was, I owned a video game of it, and I mean, I own it, but like we're going to watch, I hope it's 79, The Warriors.
Warriors,
Yeah.
come out and play.
This is the second time we've talked about it. I had a couple others on my mind, but now I'm like, if I'm going to keep referencing the Warriors as jokes, like you have to have seen it now.
Nice.
Like we got to get you into this thing where we could talk about this thing, and now you get the jokes.
Maybe my dad will finally listen to an episode of the podcast.
Oh,
if we talk about the Warriors.
Yeah, just tell him you get from this mark to this mark, Dad. That's all you got to do.
Just look at these timestamps in the YouTube description and just click that. And when the discussion's done, just throw your phone away.
Yep.
You're all done.
Yep. Dip it in Lysol. You're all over it.
Cool. Cool. So we'll watch The Warriors.
Yes.
And then we'll figure out another movie,
Yeah, we'll probably post it on Facebook. You guys will see it.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. So thank you guys for listening. If you don't want to be spoiled for The Warriors, 1979. Be sure to watch that before episode 33. These episodes come out every other week on Sunday. We are on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. We also have a website, www.neoncrewpodcast.com, where all of our episodes are and are updated. We're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all this stuff. Some of it's a little more updated than others, but it's fine. You'll figure out which one.
It's part of the process. Maybe we'll get better at some of those other ones.
Yeah.
There's two of them, I think. I don't know if you've done anything with Instagram.
Not in a bit.
Yeah, same here.
But I might. Maybe I'll start posting stuff there.
Yeah.
Again.
Hey, yeah.
Hey, yeah.
Hey, yeah.
Hey, yeah. All right. Now, ladies.
Yeah.
What do we do at the end of the podcast?
Do our Tom Hardy review.
WWTHD.
What would Tom Hardy do?
Bye, everyone.